tuned into the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Queuing. H2.0. Yeah.
You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear.
Welcome to the Queendom, H2.0 on your screen, where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. So if you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must.
This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators, building up a better scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought.
Ooh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me unleash the dragon.
Subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yeah, you don't wanna miss a thing. Welcome to the family. Yeah. miracle is coming, yeah, that's a safe bet. From the impossible to the it is done. The battle's already over, the victory is won. So let the strings soar, let the heavens open wide. I got the creator of the universe on my side. It's here to stay. The morning is here. Something has to break. The morning is here. Something has broken. Cradle and take. Gloria in excelsis. Yeah, yeah. I've been through the fire, walked through the rain, felt that pressure, felt that pain. They told me it was over, told me just give in, but they don't know the power that's living within. Yeah, I'm looking at the mountain, telling it to move. I got a different rhythm, I got a different groove. The chains are getting heavy, well, I'm getting strong. The king is on the throne, yeah, that's where I belong. Now the night is over, I see the day. All the breakthroughs coming, it's here to stay. I face the victory, come what may. It's here to stay. Something has to break. I feel it in the air. I'm casting every burden, casting every care. One night of weeping, but the morning is bright. We're walking out of darkness and into the light. Check the track record, he never failed yet. The miracle is coming, yeah, that's a safe bet. From the impossible to the it is done. The battle's already over, the victory is won. So let the strings soar, let the heavens open wide. I got the creator of the universe on my side. It's here to stay. The morning is here. Something has to break. The morning is here. Something has broken.
Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Golden. I'm back with another live, y'all. We're gonna be doing something a little bit different today. I wanted to do something maybe like a little bit fun or whatever. I don't know if y'all gonna find it fun, but you know, I did some videos before where I would do some virtual food tours, like internationally, locally, all of the things. Because I am a foodie at heart, y'all. So we're gonna do a little bit of that today. And you know I like history, so I like to get into the history of things, and I'm gonna make y'all hungry. It's almost lunchtime anyway. So it's 1:35 p.m. here Eastern time in the United States and the Carolinas. And it's a beautiful day outside, y'all. Weather is really, really warm and nice, and the sun is shining really bright. So I'm having a great Monday. We made it through the weekend, y'all. We're blessed to see another day. We're here. We got another week upon us. So yeah, I wanted to go ahead and do something a little bit different on the live. Y'all know we get into our politics stuff, and we'll get back to that because we got to stay on top of it. But sometimes it's good to take a little break away from that. It can be kind of heavy on the spirit. But anyway, I hope you all are doing well in whatever respectful time zone you're in, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night. I hope you're having a beautiful Monday. And thank you so much for joining the live. Hey, Monty girl, what's up? How you doing? So let me go ahead and get into it, y'all, and let y'all know what we're going to be talking about. So as you can see in the title, it has here the American Feast, 6 plates that built a nation. And we will be talking about 2 different ethnic cuisine. So we'll be talking about 3 major dishes that are typically known when it comes to the African American community or like African Black community. And then we'll be talking about 3 popular dishes that more so derive with, the European, Caucasian, or white side or community. And for me, y'all, being a foodie, I love food, period. Like all kinds of dish. You'd be surprised. Like there's some things that people like, I'm not trying that, I'm not tasting it. And I'm like, well, there are some things I do have my limits on, but for the most part, I feel like you can't knock it until you try it, right? So I'll be tasting stuff and trying foods. I love to try different cuisine because I get bored of eating the same thing over and over. So, oh, hey, Polo. What's going on, Polo? How you doing? Thanks for popping in. I hope you're having a good day, Polo. What's up, what's up, what's up? So, yeah. So let's go ahead. I'm going to give y'all a brief synopsis of what I'm going to be talking about in this one. And I think I'm going to continue to do this like I was doing on my other channel, where it's like maybe once a week or so. We'll do like a virtual food tour or a food history, right? And we'll start here in the United States and with American foods, and then we'll take it international. You know what I mean? So, like I said, in this day's special edition of the food tour, we're going to be traveling through time. Okay, so we're uncovering some hidden histories about 6 iconic food dishes. So we have 3, like I said, they're American, but 3 born from the resilience and heritage of Black Americans, and 3 from the traditions of European settlers and immigrants. We'll dive into also some conversation around the erasure of Black culinary geniuses, and we'll be talking about some legendary Black culinary chefs, okay? We will also be tracing the 1,000-year evolution of pizza. I know y'all love pizza. We all love pizza. Okay, so from the streets of Naples to the deep pans of Chicago, y'all. I love me a deep pan pizza. We're going to be talking about all of that. So on the menu today, y'all, we're going to be learning some history and watching, some content about these 6 different foods. So number 1, we're going to be doing gumbo. We'll be representing West African heartbeat. We'll also be talking about fried chicken and collard greens, y'all. Y'all know them Sunday soul days? Yeah. Along with that, we also will be talking about some of the erasure of Black chefs in history. We also are going to be getting into the Gullah Geechee traditions, and we'll be spotlighting Miss Emily Meggett. And she has a really, really great history and story, y'all. So we'll be learning a little bit about her today on that. Then we're going to head over to the New England clam chowder, the sailor stew. We'll talk about biscuits and gravy from the frontier evolution. And then we'll also do a little comparison when it comes to biscuits and scones, because I know some people eat scones, are more familiar with scones, and some people are more familiar with biscuits. And we'll be getting into, the difference between the two and the history behind that as well. And of course, my favorite, we will be talking about the Chicago deep dish, but we also going to be diving into pizza, period, the global evolution of pizza. So yeah, that's what I got set up for y'all, okay? So when it comes to gumbo, in the West African blueprint. We're going to start in Louisiana, okay? So if you want to know the history of the Black experience in the South, look at a bowl of gumbo. The name itself comes from the West African Bantu word King. Hold on, y'all. King Gumbo. I hope I'm saying that right. Y'all, I'll be chopping up words. King Gumbo. That's the word, King Gumbo, which means okra. Enslaved people didn't just bring seeds, they brought the knowledge of how to thicken stews. When you see gumbo, you're seeing a map of the world. West African okra, Native American filet, and European roux is not just a soup. It's a story of survival and creativity. So we'll be getting into some of the history behind that. And child, we're going to be looking at these foods too. So I said I'm about to tease y'all today because by the time we done this live, we're going to be hungry. We're going to be looking for something to eat. Now, we also going to be talking about the fried chicken and the collard greens, y'all. Soul Sundays and the history of, the erasure of Black chefs. But when it comes to the gospel, bird fried chicken is a global favorite. We have to talk about why Black food was historically erased from the American narrative. For centuries, Black chefs were the architects of the American fine dining, from the kitchens of George Washington to the elite parlors of the South. Yet, their names was often left off of the menus. Fried chicken became a tool of independence because enslaved people were often only allowed to keep chickens. They perfected seasoning techniques that transformed a humble bird into a culinary masterpiece. During segregation, Black women, known as waiter-trays, sold this chicken through train windows to travelers who were barred from dining cars. This dish funded the civil rights movement. It's a meal that turns scraps into a celebration of freedom. Then we'll be talking about the Gullah and Mrs. Emily Meggett, and she has a really great recipe with the spot-tailed bass and the red rice. We'll be looking at all of that as well. So if you go to the Sea Islands of South Carolina and Georgia, you'll find a culture that stayed closer to its African roots than anywhere else. The Gullah Geechee, today, we honor a legend, the late Miss Emily Meggett, a matriarch of Aristo Island. To understand Gullah food, you have to see how she made her spot-tailed bass, stuffed with parsley rice. Child, this recipe that she made, hitting, busting. I want to taste it. I really do. This isn't just a recipe. It's a lesson in living off the land and the sea. The rice, a direct link to the rice coast of West Africa, is seasoned with fresh herbs of the Low Country. Miss Meggett proved that the kitchen is the heart of the Gullah history. When you see her stuffing that fresh caught bass, you are seeing 400-year-old traditions preserved by the hands of a legend. We have that footage in the video. I'm going to show you in just a minute. Then we'll be moving on to the New England clam chowder, the pioneer's pot. So we'll be heading north to the coast. Clam chowder actually started as a French and British chaudière or fish stew. In the 1700s, settlers in New England actually turned their noses up at clams. They were so plentiful, they were used to pig feed. But as the winters got colder, they adapted European cream-based recipes to the local shellfish. By 1836, the Union Oyster House in Boston made it a staple, turning poverty food into a New England legend of Caucasian settler survival. Then we'll be moving on to one of my favorites, especially for breakfast, Southern biscuits and gravy, the frontier evolution. And then we will talk a little bit about, like I said, biscuits versus scones. But this is the ultimate frontier food. Many people ask, aren't biscuits just British scones? The answer is a historical and a scientific no. While the Southern biscuit evolved from the British scone, the American frontier changed the chemistry. The difference: scones are made with hard wheat flour, making them dense and crumbly, perfect for tea and jam. But the American South had soft winter wheat. When pioneers mixed this soft wheat with cold lard or buttermilk, the American biscuit was born. It's more so light, flaky, and layered. Scones rely on eggs for richness, but the biscuit relies on the lamination of cold fat to create steam vents. It's a dish born from American soil and the necessity of the working class. And y'all, last but not least, my favorite, we'll talk about Chicago deep dish. We heading over to the world of pizza. We will be ending in the Windy City with a dish that has a 1,000-year-old history. Long before it hit Chicago, pizza was a historical curiosity. Ancient Greeks and Romans ate flatbread with toppings, but the modern pizza wasn't born until the late 1700s in Naples, Italy. Back then, it was a peasant food, cheap flatbread sold to the working poor. In fact, when tomatoes first arrived in Italy, the Americans, people thought that they were poisonous. Everything changed in 1940s when Italian immigrants arrived in Chicago. They found a land of abundance. They had more meat, more cheese, and bigger ovens. Pizzeria Uno decided to take the thin crust Neapolitan snack and turn it into a deep dish pie. Thick, buttery crust and layers of cheese. It represents the American dream version of pizza. Bigger, bolder, and designed to feed a whole community of new Americans. So let's go ahead and get into some fun videos to watch, y'all, so we can see this food here and get ourselves hungry. But if we were to take a poll, y'all, with pizza alone, I'm curious. Do y'all like thin crust pizza, or are you a deep dish lover? And for a little bonus fun question, what is the weirdest thing you ever heard someone put on a pizza? So while we go through some of these videos and stuff together, if y'all think about it, those two questions, y'all let me know in the chat what y'all think. So number one, do you like your pizza with thin crust, or do you like it with thick crust, basically? Okay. And what is the weirdest topping that you have ever heard anybody put on a pizza? So let's go ahead and get into the first video, y'all. And we'll just start it off down in, let's see, where are we going to start? Let's start it off. Let's start off down in New Orleans. Let's go to New Orleans real quick, y'all. Let's talk about this gumbo. Have y'all ever had a good gumbo? Gumbo is really good. I mean, if you find someone who really know how to throw down and make gumbo, really, really good. Now, one of the things that I wish, because I haven't been, but I want to go. I want to go to New Orleans. I want to have me a authentic gumbo from New Orleans. I've had people that make renditions of it that I tasted and I thought it was amazing, but I want to get some directly from New Orleans. So anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this video right here. We'll watch it together. I'll meet y'all in the chat and check y'all comments and stuff. But yeah, this is gumbo time. Here we go.
New Orleans, the Crescent City. It remains a fascinating place because of the originality and diversity of its culture. We have street parades, shotgun houses, voodoo, and all kinds of wildness. Right next door to cathedrals, debutantes, and manicured mansions. We have our own music, architecture.
Just real quick, y'all, before we keep going, can y'all see it good? Did y'all want me to make the y'all want me to make it a little bit bigger, the screen a little bit bigger, or is y'all good? Y'all can see it good. And I'm over here now in the chat. All right, so I got Polo. What's up, Polo? Oh, hey, Carlos. Hey, baby. How you doing? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, you know we love some pig feet, for real. With the barbecue sauce now. Can't forget the barbecue sauce. Imani, you don't eat pork? Okay. And then Polo said great content. Thanks, Polo. Yeah, I'll be trying to switch it up, you know. Sometimes I want to do something fun, so we can have a little bit of fun. But I ain't mean to interrupt y'all. I just wanted to ask y'all real quick. Do y'all want me to make it a little bit bigger? So Polo said thin crust. Of course, Carlos, he talking about New York style. We already know that. We already know you like New York style. Polo said broccoli is weird. Broccoli on pizza? You said you like your gumbo spicy. I love me some spice now. All right, let's get back into it, y'all. I'll be right back. Let's keep watching. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger.
way of speaking, and of course, food. Fried food like po' boys, sweets like beignets, rice dishes like jambalaya. But our signature dish is gumbo. Gumbo is symbolic of the best of New Orleans. It's as much a cultural symbol of Louisiana, the bayou, or jazz. That's why, like New Orleans herself, gumbo is temperamental, approachable, but unpredictable. And across America, no dish speaks more vividly of a melting pot than gumbo. It's a complex, mysterious dish born of necessity, bringing together a multiplicity of ingredients and ethnicities. Dating back more than 300 years, many believe the West African slave population first created this dish out of hardship. The name gumbo derives from the word kingombo, which is Bantu for okra, popular ingredient. But it was the Choctaw Indians who developed the spicy filet powder, a key additive made from sassafras leaves. And it was the French who laid claim to the thickening agent known as the roux. Now, we didn't know any of that history when I was growing up, but when we saw those ingredients for gumbo coming through the front door, we knew it was going to be time for a celebration. And it was. You can find gumbo in every corner of this city and argue every day as to whose is best. But the answer always is, there's no better pot of gumbo than one made at home.
The best way to learn, I think, is from your great-grandmother or your grandmother.
New Orleans chef Poppy Tooker's middle name might as well be Gumbo. Poppy, when did you first start preparing this specialty?
I started making gumbo when I was a little girl, and I was a pro by high school. I had it down.
Her take on the signature dish is revered by those near and far.
It all starts with making a roux, doesn't it?
Really?
Yeah.
She says that a few steps are required. First, the all-important mix of flour and oil that makes up the roux.
And then I just stir. And you can't answer the phone. You can't go to the door. You can't leave it alone.
And every gumbo has to include the holy trinity of vegetables.
You get the onions.
Onions, celery, and green peppers. Then that's going to be followed by her lyrical favorite, okra. But after that, it's really just a matter of taste.
Now, how do you feel about tomatoes?
And opinion.
The most important ingredient, I think, in any gumbo are the gumbo crabs.
Uh-oh. Well, bring them on.
Bring them on. Isn't that something?
As long as it's made with Louisiana's finest.
And this is how we're going to get that flavor of the sea.
And strained, simmered, and stirred constantly with love. The result will always be quite poignant and soulful. Ooh, like the Crescent City herself. I hope that we've shown that there's a big difference between gumbo and just any old soup. Gumbo is a full meal. It's a tradition and a philosophy. The fundamentals don't change, but the variations are endless. A good pot of gumbo is so much trouble to make, nobody ever makes a small pot, which is fortunate, because with a good pot on the stove, your whole neighborhood might just end up in your kitchen. You better be ready. Have mercy, Poppy.
Polo said, got to have that gumbo spoon. I know that's right. Yeah, we want us a big scoop. But yeah, that looks so good. Like, I'm getting hungry already, and we're just getting into it. Like, we really just getting into it. But yeah, I'd like to have me a nice gumbo for real. I haven't had one in a while. Like, it's actually been, I think, it's been like 4 years since I had gumbo. So anybody, y'all make gumbo, let me know, because I'm coming over. I need some. So anyway, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and get into the next video here, okay? So on this one, it's a and we're gonna talk about, you know, a little bit of history, of course, why Black food was erased from American history, you know. So we're gonna listen to a little bit of that. And of course, as we listen to, we're gonna see some foods and recipes on there as well. So they're still gonna be teasing us with food and stuff, y'all. But yeah, just a little bit of history, because we know that there's been a lot of dishes and a lot of foods, a lot of even chefs, right? Great cooks that, you know, they don't really get the recognition that they deserve. And back in those times, like, you know, a lot of times we was making food to fill the soul and the heart, right? To bring each other together and feel good, but also just to survive, right? To nourish the body. And so let's go ahead and get into a little bit of that, y'all. And I'm gonna meet y'all over in the chat.
What if I told you that some of America's most beloved dishes, barbecue, fried chicken, mac and cheese, were created by enslaved people using literal scraps? What if I told you that the very foundation of American cuisine was built by black hands, yet their names have been erased from every recipe? This is the story they don't want you to know. How Black people turned survival into an art form. How they took the worst parts of animals that white folks wouldn't even look at and transformed them into dishes so incredible that America can't stop eating them today. America has spent centuries profiting off these recipes while pretending they just magically appeared. Well, today, we're setting the record straight, so buckle up, because we're about to serve you some truth that's been simmering for way too long. Enslaved people were given what can only be described as garbage to eat. Frederick Douglass, who lived through this hell, documented exactly what enslaved people received as their monthly food allowance. 8 pounds of pork, or its equivalent in fish, and 1 bushel of cornmeal. That's it. That's supposed to feed a grown person doing backbreaking labor for an entire month. But here's where it gets even more twisted. While enslaved people were literally starving on these starvation rations, they were cooking elaborate feasts for their enslavers. Think about that irony for a second. You're dying of hunger while preparing banquets for the people who are starving you. And what did white folks give enslaved people when they felt generous? The parts of animals they wouldn't feed to their dogs: pig intestines, pig feet, pig tails, ham hocks, oxtails, kidneys, heart, liver, all the stuff they got thrown in the trash. But here's where Black genius kicks in. Instead of just accepting defeat, enslaved people said, you know what? We're going to take your scraps and turn them into something so delicious that your great-great-grandchildren will be paying premium prices for it. Take chitterlings, or chitlins as we call them. These are literally pig intestines, the most disgusting part of the pig that white folks couldn't even look at. But enslaved people cleaned them for hours, seasoned them with whatever spices they could find or grow, and slow cooked them until they became tender and flavorful. Today, chitlins are considered a delicacy. People throw whole parties around them. Ham hocks, these tough, fatty pieces of pig leg that seemed worthless. Enslaved people discovered that if you slow cook them with greens, they release this rich, smoky flavor that transforms the entire dish. Those ham hocks became the secret ingredient that made collard greens, black-eyed peas, and beans taste incredible. And let's talk about pot liquor, the liquid left over after cooking greens. White plantation families would eat the greens and literally throw away the broth, not knowing that all the vitamins and minerals had leached into that liquid. Enslaved people knew better. They drank that pot liquor like medicine because that's exactly what it was. Liquid vitamins that kept them alive when they weren't getting proper nutrition anywhere else. But the innovation didn't stop with meat. When you don't have an oven, how do you bake bread? Enslaved people figured out how to make ash cakes by cooking cornbread directly on hot ashes from the fire. No pans, no ovens, just pure ingenuity. They took cornmeal, the cheapest grain their enslavers would give them, and turned it into golden, crispy cornbread that would make your mouth water. Here's what really blows my mind though. While all this incredible cooking was happening, enslaved people were also using food as resistance. They passed down African cooking techniques from mother to daughter, preserving their culture in the only way they could. They grew secret gardens, supplementing their diets with whatever vegetables they could raise. And some of these enslaved chefs got so good that they gained a level of respect and even economic power that was almost unheard of. Take Hercules Posey, who cooked for George Washington. This man's food was so incredible that he was allowed to sell leftover plates on the side, earning what would be about $6,000 a year in today's money. Eventually, he escaped to freedom and became a chef in New York. But perhaps the most powerful example of food as resistance was Thomas Downing's Oyster House. Upstairs, Downing served fancy oyster dishes to white elite customers who had no idea that downstairs, in that same building, he was hiding people escaping slavery as part of the Underground Railroad. Food was literally funding freedom. This is what I want you to understand. Every single recipe created in those plantation kitchens was an act of defiance. Every seasoning blend, every cooking technique, every way of making something delicious out of nothing was enslaved people refusing to let their oppressors break their spirit. They said, you can enslave our bodies, but you cannot enslave our creativity. And if stories like this fire you up the way they fire me up, make sure you subscribe to Black Stories Untold. We're here to uncover the truth they tried to bury, celebrate the excellence they tried to erase, and make sure these stories never get forgotten again. See, this is where the lies really start. America wants you to believe that Africans were just simple people who didn't know anything about cooking. That's complete nonsense. West and Central Africa had some of the most advanced food cultures in the world. They had complex spice blends, sophisticated preservation techniques, and cooking methods that were absolutely revolutionary. And here's proof of just how intentional and smart enslaved people were. During the Middle Passage, that horrific journey across the Atlantic, enslaved women literally braided rice seeds, okra seeds, and millet into their hair. When Europeans kidnapped people from West Africa, they specifically targeted people who knew how to cultivate rice. The Carolina colony became incredibly wealthy growing rice. But guess who actually knew how to grow it? The enslaved Africans who had been growing it in their homeland for generations. Yet somehow, white folks get all the credit for discovering rice cultivation in America. Okra, that's African. Black-eyed peas, African. Sesame seeds, African. Yams, African. Giddy peppers, African. These weren't random plants that happened to grow well in America. These were deliberately chosen crops that enslaved people knew would provide nutrition and flavor. And the cooking techniques. One-pot meals where everything cooks together to create complex flavors. That's African. Barbecuing meat over open pits. The word literally comes from the Hausa word, babake. Using palm oil for frying, African. Cooking with ashes, African. Here's what really gets me angry though. When enslaved people use these traditional African techniques to create incredible food in America, white folks acted like it was some kind of magic. They couldn't understand how enslaved people could take scraps and make them taste better than anything in the big house. They didn't realize they were witnessing thousands of years of culinary evolution at work. But it goes even deeper than specific dishes. The whole
I was just laughing. I told you, I said, by the time we done this live, I'm going to make y'all hungry. And that child, we ain't even halfway through. I'm starving. I'm hungry. I need something to eat. But I don't want just any old thing. After watching this live, child, I want me something, a cuisine. You know what I mean? I want me some gumbo. I want some jambalaya. And we got more. We're going to be going over too. Shoot, once we get to that deep dish pizza, I might be calling DoorDash, you know, like I need something to eat. So yeah, I just went to a couple of, and have some little fun today, y'all, you know, and who doesn't love food, child? We all love food. That's one thing we all can connect with is when it comes to food and eating. So the history is great. I love the history because it's very informative to know like where a lot of these recipes that we really love and we enjoy, where it all derived from. And like I said, right now we're doing half and half. So we got, the African American, Black cuisines and foods, but we also be doing European and Caucasian foods as well. That's been derived from areas of that nature as well. So I wanted to make a balance. And then as we continue to go on, like I said, we will cover America, but then I'm going to continue to do videos where we get very international with it as well. There's a lot of international dishes and cuisines that I really love too. So we'll be getting into all of that on this segment. We'll call it a segment. We'll make it a segment, and I'll bring that back. I think it's fun to do something a little different. But anyway, y'all, let's keep going, y'all. Let's keep staying hungry until we get something to eat. All right, I'll meet y'all in the chat.
Philosophy of African cooking, using every part of an animal, letting nothing go to waste, building flavor through layers of seasoning, cooking food low and slow to develop complex tastes. All of that became the foundation of what we now call Southern cooking and soul food. This is why I get so frustrated when people talk about soul food like it just randomly appeared. This cuisine has roots that go back thousands of years to the sophisticated food cultures of West and Central Africa. Now let me tell you about some individual people who need their flowers. These are the culinary geniuses whose names should be as famous as any celebrity chef today, but have been erased from history because America doesn't want to admit that some of its greatest food innovations came from enslaved people. Let's start with James Hemings. You might know his sister Sally Hemings from her connection to Thomas Jefferson, but James was a culinary revolutionary in his own right. Jefferson took James to Paris when he was just 19 years old, and this young man became fluent in French and trained under master French chefs. When he returned to America, he brought something special with him: the recipe for macaroni and cheese. That's right, mac and cheese. That ultimate comfort food that Americans act like they invented was brought to America by an enslaved Black man who learned it in France. James Hemings created the first macaroni and cheese recipe in America, and it became so popular that it spread throughout the country. Yet how many people know his name? How many times have you seen James Hemings credited when you see mac and cheese on a menu? Then there's Hercules Posey, who I mentioned earlier. This man was such an incredible chef that he was basically running his own side business while enslaved. George Washington trusted him so much that Hercules could leave Mount Vernon on his own to buy ingredients and sell leftover food. His dishes were so legendary that wealthy white families would specifically request to eat at Washington's table just to taste Hercules' cooking. But here's what I love about Hercules. When he got the chance, he escaped. He refused to live his life making other people rich off his talent. He made it to New York and continued working as a chef, this time cooking for himself in his own freedom. And let's talk about Duchess Charity Quamino, the pastry queen of Rhode Island. This woman was born in Ghana, survived slavery, gained her freedom, and then built a catering empire based on her frosted plum cake. Her cake was so famous that she made enough money to buy her own house. In the 1700s, a formerly enslaved Black woman bought property with cake money. But the innovation wasn't just happening in individual kitchens. Let's talk about barbecue, the cooking style that America claims as its own invention. The truth is, barbecue comes from a combination of Native American techniques and African smoking methods. But by the 1830s, something interesting was happening. White folks started saying that you couldn't have a proper barbecue without Black cooks. They literally admitted that Black people were the masters of this cooking style. And can we talk about the genius that went into creating barbecue sauce? Enslaved people took whatever they could find, hot peppers, vinegar, whatever spices they could grow or trade for, and created these complex, flavorful sauces that could transform any piece of meat. They understood that the right sauce could make even the toughest, cheapest cut of meat taste incredible. One of my favorite food origin stories is Prince's hot chicken in Nashville. James Thornton Prince was apparently a serial cheater, and one of his girlfriends got so fed up that she cooked him fried chicken with enough hot pepper to burn his mouth as revenge. But Prince loved it so much that he and his brothers developed their own recipe and opened a restaurant. The chicken was so popular that they had to build a separate room for white customers. And those white folks had to walk through the main dining room and the kitchen just to get to their segregated section. What I want you to understand is that every single one of these innovations happened under impossible circumstances. These people were creating culinary masterpieces while being treated as property. They were developing recipes that would influence American food forever, while not even being allowed to own their own kitchens. After emancipation, something incredible happened. All that culinary knowledge that had been contained within the plantation system suddenly exploded across America. 4 million newly freed people carried their food traditions with them as they sought new lives. And America was about to get a crash course in what real flavor looked like. The Great Migration changed everything. Between 1916 and 1970, 6 million Black Americans moved from the rural South to cities in the North and West, and they brought their food with them. Suddenly, places like Chicago, Detroit, New York, and Philadelphia were getting introduced to flavors they had never experienced. Let me paint you a picture of what Harlem was like during this time. Food writer Ollie Stewart described walking through the streets and being hit with aromas of buttered biscuits, candied sweets, and rice baptized in sausage gravy. Can you imagine? Entire city blocks where the air itself was seasoned with soul food. And let's talk about the entrepreneurs who seized this moment. Sylvia Woods moved from South Carolina to Harlem as a teenager and started working in a Brooklyn factory. But in 1954, she took a job at Johnson's Luncheonette in Central Harlem. 7 years later, she and her husband bought that luncheonette and transformed it into Sylvia's Restaurant. Sylvia became known as the Queen of Soul Food, and her restaurant became a cultural institution that's still operating today. But here's where food became more than just business. It became the backbone of the civil rights movement. Let me tell you about Georgia Gilmore, a woman who literally cooked the Montgomery bus boycott into success. Georgia was working at the National Lunch Company in Montgomery when the bus boycott started in 1955. She was described by a local reverend as someone who didn't take any junk from anybody. Even the white officers let her be. When the boycott began, Georgia started bringing food to church meetings, picnic baskets full of chicken sandwiches and pies that she sold to raise money. Then she got together with other talented cooks and formed what they called the Club from Nowhere. They were raising about $1,400 a week in today's money, selling food to support the Montgomery Improvement Association. And here's the beautiful irony. They were selling this food to white customers who had no idea their money was funding the very movement that was challenging segregation. When Georgia testified in court as a defense witness for the bus boycott, the National Lunch Company fired her in retaliation. But Martin Luther King Jr. had her back. He gave her money to buy cooking equipment so she could run a restaurant out of her home. Georgia went on to host dinners for MLK and Lyndon Johnson. JFK even ate her chitlins and sweet potato pie aboard Air Force One. This is what I want you to understand. Georgia Gilmore didn't just cook food. She cooked freedom. Every plate she sold was a small act of resistance that helped sustain one of the most important movements in American history. What's incredible is how quickly soul food adapted to different regions as Black Americans spread across the country. In Maryland, they started frying chicken in shallow fat in covered pans, creating this steaming effect that made the chicken incredibly tender. They served it with waffles, creating the classic chicken and waffles combination that became popular throughout Black communities. Musicians and entertainers who performed late into the night would stop at Black-owned restaurants for chicken and waffles after their shows. This created a whole network of establishments known as the Chitlin Circuit, Black-owned venues that served soul food and provided safe spaces for Black performers and audiences during the Jim Crow era. But beyond the famous restaurants and movement leaders, something beautiful was happening in everyday Black communities. Church dinners became massive community gatherings where everyone would bring their specialties: fried catfish, spaghetti, red drinks, black-eyed peas, and rice. Food became the way that displaced communities reconnected with their roots and built new support systems. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room: the massive impact the soul food has had on American cuisine as a whole. Because what started as survival cooking in slave quarters is now a multi-billion-dollar industry that defines how America eats. Walk into any restaurant in America today and look at the menu. Fried chicken, that's soul food. Barbecue food, cheese food, Cornbread, soul food. Collard greens, soul food. Sweet potato pie, soul food. America's most popular comfort foods all have their roots in the kitchens of enslaved people. But it goes way deeper than just individual dishes. The entire way America thinks about cooking, the emphasis on bold flavors, the use of spices and seasonings, the technique of frying foods, the concept of low and slow cooking, all of that comes from African and African American culinary traditions. Take the fast food industry. Every major fried chicken chain in America is built on techniques that enslaved people developed. KFC, Popeyes, Church's Chicken, they're all profiting from recipes and cooking methods that were created by unpaid Black labor. Yet how often do you see acknowledgement of that history in their marketing? And let's talk about technique. The American obsession with fried foods, that comes from enslaved people who figured out how to use lard and other fats to create crispy, flavorful coatings on everything from chicken to catfish to vegetables. The smoking and barbecuing techniques that define American outdoor cooking directly descended from African methods adapted by enslaved people. But here's what really amazes me. Soul food didn't just influence American cuisine, it went global. During World War I and II, Black American soldiers and service members opened soul food restaurants in Europe, Korea, Vietnam, Thailand, and Japan. They introduced the world to African American flavors, and those influences are still present in international cuisine today. The economic impact is staggering. The soul food restaurant industry alone generates billions of dollars annually. Black-owned restaurants, food trucks, catering companies, and specialty food producers have created entire economic ecosystems around these traditional recipes. Yet, the wealth generated from soul food has never properly benefited the communities that created it. Every time someone opens a Southern restaurant, every time a food company sells barbecue sauce, every time a celebrity chef makes fried chicken, they're profiting from innovations created by enslaved people. The least we can do is acknowledge where these recipes actually came from. But there's still so much work to do. We need to support Black-owned food businesses and make sure that the communities that created these recipes can benefit from their success. Most importantly, we need to stop treating soul food like it just appeared out of nowhere. These recipes represent centuries of knowledge, innovation, and cultural survival. They deserve the same respect and recognition that we give to any other cuisine. So, here's what I want you to remember. Every single time you take a bite of barbecue, every time you order fried chicken, every time you taste mac and cheese or cornbread or any of the foods that define American cuisine, you're not just eating food, you're tasting history. You're experiencing the result of incredible creativity born from impossible circumstances. You're enjoying the fruits of culinary genius that transformed scraps into masterpieces, that turned survival into art, that preserved African culture in America against all odds. The real recipe for soul food isn't written in any cookbook. It goes like this. Take African knowledge that spans thousands of years. Add survival instinct forged in the crucible of slavery. Mix in creative genius that refuses to be broken. Season generously with community love and cultural pride. Cook low and slow through generations of struggle. Serve with purpose and remember where it came from. Because that's what soul food really is. It's edible resistance. They tried to break us with scraps. Instead, we fed a nation. And that is how soul food built America. Next time you eat these foods, remember whose hands created them. Remember the ingenuity it took to transform nothing into everything. Don't let anyone erase that history. Don't let anyone forget where these flavors really came from. If you've made it this far in the video, I really want to say thanks for sticking around.
All right, y'all. So we got nice and hungry from watching that. And that was a lot of great history, as far as most of the stuff we probably have already known anyway. But If we didn't, we learned a little bit of something here today. But we're gonna go ahead and take a quick song break. After we take the song break, we're gonna come back with our next, and we'll be getting into Miss Emily Maggette, and we'll be talking about the Gullah Geechee and the red bean. I'm sorry, the red rice. Okay, so we'll get into that video next, y'all. Let me go ahead and play this song real quick while I use the restroom, and I will be right back. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. I'm back. I just had to run to the restroom, y'all. So I wanted to put on just a nice little jam. Nothing too serious today, y'all. Just some nice, smooth music. A little lo-fi for us. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into, excuse me, our next video. So we'll be talking about the Gullah and Miss Emily Maggetts. And she has a recipe. There's her spot tail bass and red rice. And so we're moving over to the Sea Islands of South Carolina and Georgia, a culture that stayed closer to the African roots than anywhere else, the Gullah Geechee. So on this video, y'all will be seeing who Miss Emily Magget is, and she'll be showing you exactly how she makes her recipe for the spot tail base and red rice. They call her the matriarch of Edisto Island. And so to understand Gullah food, we have to see how she makes this recipe. She also pairs it with parsley rice. And this isn't just a recipe, it's a lesson in living off of the land and the sea, right? The rice is the direct link to the rice coast of West Africa and is seasoned with fresh herbs of the Low Country. Miss Magget proved that the kitchen is the heart of Gullah history. When you see her stuffing that fresh caught bass, you will see that this is a 400-year-old tradition preserved by the hands of a legend. So let's go ahead and watch this together, y'all, and I will meet y'all over in the chat.
The wealth of the American South built enormous mansions and vast plantations of cotton, tobacco, and sugar. That all came at a cost, of course, a deeply felt human cost, paid with thousands upon thousands of Black lives. Enslaved men, women, and children taken from Africa and brought to America through the ports of Savannah, Beaufort, and Charleston. The enslaved persons brought their agricultural know-how with them. Crops like rice, okra, and yams thrived under their expertise. We're here today with B.J. Dennis, a Charleston-based chef and historian who's not only a great cook, he's dedicated much of his professional life to preserving the Low Country culinary traditions of his ancestors, the Gullah or Geechee people of the Sea Islands off the coast of South Carolina and Georgia.
BJ, thank you for bringing me here.
Brought you to one of the hearts of Gullah culture.
First of all, what does that mean? Gullah, I hear Gullah, Geechee. Is that the same thing?
Well, you know, on the Sea Islands of Georgia, they'll say they Geechee. South Carolina, they say we Gullah. But in the city of Charleston, we say we Geechee. It's all the same culture.
Okay.
A language, music, food, the Africanisms that we held on to that came from West Africa and the West Indies. That's pretty much the heartbeat of Gullah culture. It stayed on the Sea Islands because the Sea Islands were very separated from the mainland. And through that, we held on to a lot of our Africanisms. The ring shout, praise house, the food, which you get ready to taste. And on Edisto Island, Miss Emily is probably the matriarch of this island. She's a living legend. This 85-year-old woman who still cooks for 100 plus. Cooking on the island since her younger days. For me, it's nothing better than sitting with my elders because they have so much to share with me. And that's why I brought you here.
Hello.
Wipe my feet before I come in the door.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm here.
Good to see you.
See you too.
Hi there. I'm Lucas. It's nice to meet you.
Same here.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm doing this. She's been doing this way before I was even a thought. You're not gonna get any more authentic than what we got about to do right here with her. So,
well, we're gonna do parsley rice. You don't see that nowhere in the restaurant. Or we're gonna do red rice, broccoli, cauliflower, carrot salad, stuffed whiting.
what's right bass?
Spot-tail bass.
Spot-tail bass. Yes, it's spot-tail season, so they're nice and
fresh.
Yeah, she gonna lead us. She gonna lead us to where we need to be. So
join the band.
Hey, put me to work. Tell me what to do. Or tell me to get out of the way.
I'll tell you what you can do.
Great.
Wash this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, DJ, you know what I want you to do for me?
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to cut me some parsley.
Miss Emily, what are you making right now?
Parsley rice and red rice.
You were born and raised on this
Right
island,
here on
is
this
that right?
island.
And 5 or 6 generations of your family before you. Yeah.
Yes, this is the most blessed place in the world. Because everybody that lives here, they looks up to each other. Look right in that cabinet, you see a can of tomato paste.
Now, I've heard people call you the queen of this island.
Really?
That's what some people say. Why do you think they call you that?
I guess because I am the most caring person for the island. And I love to take care of people. I've been doing that all my life, and I like to cook and feed people. I worked in one spot for 46 winters and had 6 children and never missed a day for work. Can you believe that? I went there as a little girl washing dishes in the kitchen. And then 20 years later, the cook died, the housekeeper died. So then everything fell in my lap. You know, every day I go, I said, I'm not coming back tomorrow because it's too much.
Have you heard of red rice before? The same family as jambalaya, which also goes back to the lineage of jollof.
Okay.
They say the sign of a great cook in Charleston is how your red rice come out.
What's tricky about it?
That the tomato to water ratio is key.
Don't ever put too much tomatoes, because if you put too much tomatoes, it come out red, red, red.
Too tomatoey, if that's a word. We are pretty much the descendants of folks who came from the rice growing areas of West Africa.
Right.
You know, Senegal is known for chaboujen,
Okay.
which is their national dish, which a lot of folks say is the beginning of the whole jollof rice.
Okay.
But it started in Senegal with chaboujen, which is a Senegalese rice and fish dish, typically a red tinted rice with tomato paste or fresh tomatoes. And we usually do red rice here with fried fish. And rice was pretty much what made this city rich. Unfortunately, we became rich off the knowledge and the culture of the West Africans. So we have right here Creole rice from Trinidad, Moruga Hill rice. The Americans are an ethnic group in Trinidad. They are descendants of Gullah people from the Low Country, particularly in Georgia and here in South Carolina. They're called Americans because when they went to Trinidad, people knew they were from the States. And with them, they took this rice. We thought that this may be related to the West African glaberrima rice.
Okay.
So a lot of people think of rice with Asia. Rice also in West Africa goes back 7,000-8,000 millennia. So this is sea island white rice peas and okra.
You're going to be amazed. Her going to do magic now. Right in the front of your eye.
She's going to stuff this into this beautiful spot tail. Fillet the bones. She's going to sew it.
And bring me the rice. I need somebody to hold it for me.
I'll hold it for you.
Okay.
Like a little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Little baby fish.
Have you ever seen this before?
Never.
Press it. Let me see.
Precedent.
Yeah, press it. This is the real thing. Long.
This is it. Get your hands in it.
That's right. Doctor's going to operate now. Everything is so still.
You're doing surgery. Everyone has to be very quiet.
Now look right up there on that sink.
Yeah.
You see an apple?
Yes.
Wash that apple off and cut it in half on me.
Oh, okay.
Scoop that up.
Scoop that out. Okay.
Do that. Bring it here.
There's a lot of stuff in here.
Man, I'm going to fire you.
I'm going as fast as I can.
One apple.
I know.
It takes 15 minutes.
I just wanted it to be perfect for you.
Pour me some juice right here. Okay. That's enough.
I used to say, if I hear AI one more time, I'm going to lose it. But Monday.com is super easy to use.
All right.
Ta-da.
Pour that juice in there.
What is it about the connection with food that's so important with your culture and with Miss Emily's culture?
No, it's a really direct connection back to the motherland. The rice, the okra, the eggplant, the one-pot cooking, the slow cooking. Well, these things are so synonymous to how they eat in West Africa. You know, a lot of these dishes you only saw in homes. You didn't really see them in the mainstream restaurants. You know, Charleston in particular, and the Sea Islands, be it from working class, even in the quote-unquote homes of the elite, this was the cuisine that they would eat. Charleston, and that time was 70% free and enslaved people. Their culture kind of was the heartbeat, even though it was suppressed through food.
You know, a lot of people say, well, it's food and don't try to mix in politics or history, but the fact is it's so connected. And so how do you discuss Southern cuisine?
I think for me as a chef, I have an obligation to talk about these stories. I can't just cook this food or go back and look at the past, look at old recipes without knowing that some people, they were house slaves. Sometimes if you burnt something, that was a punishment. They had to be great cooks. I call it suppressed greatness. You have free people too who own restaurants and hotels in Charleston.
Okay.
During that time period too. And their stories are not talked about either. Charleston and New Orleans, enslavement in these cities were very different than a lot of other places because you had the market where it was people of color who sold the goods, sold the vegetables, you know, and sometimes eventually be able to buy their own freedom. The story is so complex and food takes it in so many directions. And like for me, in this world now with all the social media and all this, I've been blessed to get a lot of notoriety from that. But there were people before me who've been doing this. And if I don't use my platform to showcase those who've been doing this work, then I'm at fault. I want to be around the elders. I want to hear them crack the teeth. And crack the teeth is when they talk. I want to hear them talk. When they crack their teeth, I want to hear them talk.
What do we need to do as people in the food community to honor the past?
Acknowledge the roots of what you're doing sometimes. And that's not for everybody. You know, and I have to admit that I had a passion for culture and history, especially knowing my history and my roots. And I happen to be a cook. If I could say one thing, just know what you're cooking sometimes. I mean, like, you won't believe how many chefs think gumbo comes from France. And gumbo is an African word for okra. You know, sometimes you got to stop and study. Sometimes it's more than just cooking, you know, because the food tells a story.
Miss Emily is a one-woman wrecking crew here. What are we making now?
Icing for the rum cake.
Brown sugar.
That's right. I need some butter.
Okay. Can I grind the almond?
Yes, you can. Now, you have never tasted anything like this. You think you're dying going to heaven. Put it on. Does that look good?
We are so lucky and fortunate to be here with this amazing spread of food prepared by Miss Emily. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Could you just tell us what we've got here?
You got stuffed spot-tail bass with parsley rice. You got red rice, brown rice. You got vegetable salad and a lemon cake.
And then what is in these mysterious jars?
Some homemade muscadine wine.
And this looks so good. I think we should eat it.
Let's see the blessing. Lord, make us thankful for this food that we are about to receive to nourish our body, but not our soul. Make us mindful of those that are less fortunate than we are. Thank you for family and friends. These and all other blessings I'm asking in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd love to talk a little bit about food traditions here on the island, preserving those traditions.
But I don't know if these young folks is going to carry on this tradition because, see, the parents don't cook this kind of food and the kids substitute. When I was coming up, whatever our parents put on that table, if you didn't eat, you go to bed hungry.
How does it make you feel when you see younger people like BJ wanting to prepare these kinds of foods and keep these things alive?
Good. Makes you feel good because you know what? Somebody have to carry on. But ain't everybody going to do that.
Tell us a little bit about some of the significance culturally of some of the dishes that we're eating.
We'll start with this red rice. I mean, red rice and jambalaya are very similar. This rice right here came from the Low Country and went to Trinidad in the 1800s. And then this dish, you know, to me is a special. So you're getting the kind of full gamut.
I mean, what's interesting is having so much going on in one dish.
And it's indicative of the culture. Slow cooking.
All right, y'all. So, child, we in the chat. We talking about V-Love over here got a whole dish, child. She over here got some food. Come on, V-Love. Send me a plate. I'm hungry. But I figured this live was going to make us all hungry, y'all. We all going to have something to eat. by the time we done this live, we gonna scrape up something, child. Something we gonna find in the pantry or the refrigerator somewhere to cook. Cause I'm telling you, I need to eat some lunch. I don't know what I'm gonna eat, but I'm gonna find something after this. But yeah, fish is really good. I really love fish. Blueberry, you said you like white fish with lemon is really good. V Love, you said you're eating what fish did you say you was eating? You said you really like whiting is your favorite, but you made you some perch. Yeah, perch is pretty good. Perch is pretty good. And yeah, that is crazy. Like with Beyonce mom or whatnot, Tina knows in the gumbo. I don't know what happened. Is that must have just been like a fluke, like this one time fluke or something? I guess something had went wrong because I have not heard anything previously, about people consecutively saying that they're getting sick from eating her food. I think she's been cooking for a minute, so I don't know. Maybe it's just like a bad batch or something. But that's crazy. That is crazy. But you say you follow a lot of your grandma recipes. Yeah, yeah. What you eating, Star? You got something to eat too? Gumbo sounds good to even though people got sick from it. They saying, ooh, what? Oh my God. Oh no. Is that what the report's the same, Blueberry? Ugh, yeah. I cannot. That's disgusting. But yeah, so this recipe right here that she made, they sitting down, they have this nice little spread right here. I'm like, yo, I want to taste it. It looked like it tastes so good. You was eating a pastry. Yeah. Child, I'm about to find me a snack or something here in a minute. I'm telling you for real, I'm getting hungry. But yes, let me see. So we at the tail end of this video. And then after we get done with this one, I'm gonna play the follow-up to it. It's just a little short one where she was being interviewed. You can just hear a little bit more of her background and stuff like that. But yeah, this meal right here looking really good. After we do that, we'll be moving on to clam chowder. Do y'all like clam chowder? I have the one video I'm going to play is going to be about that, and it's excuse me, it's not that long, but yeah, clam chowder is what they call the Union from the Union Oyster House in Boston. So we'll be playing that. I like watching these videos of like these little food tours and stuff where they go to like different restaurants or different staples of like certain cities and stuff like that, or they make some really good food. So we'll get into that next, but let's go ahead and finish this one up here. That bass looks really, really good. Really, really good. And then rice, I love me a good rice. Lately, y'all, I have been trying out new rices. So before, like, I used to always eat just the regular white rice because I didn't really know, whatever my grandma would make, my mama would make. So it's just regular plain white rice. And then I started trying jasmine rice because, like I said, my son, father, they have Filipino. And so they eat a lot of rice. And one of their favorite rice to eat is jasmine rice. So I started getting into eating jasmine rice. But I really do like Indian food too. So when I started eating some of the Indian food, I noticed that they were using different rices as well. Yes, basmati rice, basmati rice, saffron rice. And I know it's very starchy, you know what I'm saying? We're not supposed to have a whole bunch of starch and stuff like that, but I love me a good rice. If I'm making any type of food, my size is going to be potatoes. So it's usually going to be like real potatoes or chopped potatoes, like a chopped potato up, cut a potato up or something like that, or mashed potato, or rice. Those is my size. So they got the basmati rice. I like the jasmine rice, and it's another one too that's more so paired with like Indian food. I'm trying to remember the name of that one. But yeah, saffron rice, jollof rice is good. Yeah, and I try to balance it. Like I am a meat eater, so I have, but I will have a meat. I'll have a starch of some kind, which is typically, like I said, a potato or a rice, and vegetable. I love vegetables, especially greens. I eat almost every green vegetable possible. I love all green veggies. But I try to balance it. You know what I mean? Veggie, starch, meat, protein, or whatever. So yes. You said yeah, saffron rice. You said I like clam chowder without the clam. Okay. And then V Love said my mom is from Mississippi, one of the best cook around. Now my daughter and nieces cook at our Sunday gatherings. They great cooks as well. Yes, yes. And I think that's like, you know what I mean? That's the whole important part, like to pass that down. Just like we pass down any other wisdoms and stuff, you know, to our kids. Sometimes they'll adopt it and that, you know, they're with it, and sometimes they're not. But I think one of the best things to do to pass down to your, you know, your kids, and even if you just got nieces and nephews and stuff like that, is you know, cooking recipes and stuff like that. You know, I want to get to the point where, like, as I'm getting older and stuff now, I want to start writing my recipes down, like, because I'm not good at writing recipes. Because when I cook, I just like cook from the heart. So I'm like, sprinkle this, pinch of this, pinch of this, pinch of that. So I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got the music on, I'm jamming, I'm cooking, I cook from the heart, I cook from memory. I don't, you know, necessarily write down like measurements and stuff like that. But one of the things that I want to start doing though, you know, because I got my little son and stuff now, and I don't know, you know, sometimes boys grow up to cook, sometimes they don't. They may need, or they want the wife to do it or whatever, or the girlfriend. But there's a lot of men out there that are chefs, child, and they can throw down and they cook for real, for real. Like my boyfriend, he can cook. Like he be chefing it up in the kitchen, and I love that. I think that's real attractive. Like when a guy can cook, so I want to teach my son how to cook. So it's like he don't ever gotta just be over there getting fast food or eating ramen noodles. Like he know how to make certain dishes and food. Whether he's a bachelor and he's by himself, or he want to cook for his girlfriend, his wife, his friends, whatever. Like I'm gonna teach him how to cook. And when I be in the kitchen and stuff now already, like he's interested, it seems. Like he be in there, he be looking to see what I'm doing. And I gotta keep him away, you know, because it's hot, it's dangerous right now. He's too small. But he be watching me, child. Me and mama be in the kitchen and cooking. And that's how I was raised up. Like I was in the kitchen with my grandmama, my mama, like 3 years old, child. And they give me little small tasks to do, you know, like if it's me making breakfast, I'm stirring the pancake batter or I'm stirring the cake batter, like a nice little small task. That's how you start off. And then, you know, as you get older and you can handle more, you know, you start learning more skills and stuff like that. And that's just how you learn, you know what I mean? Star said, I love cheesy potato bites from Checkers, and I don't even eat fast food like that. Checkers got some good food. I do like Checkers. Checkers is good. Checkers is really, really good. I like checker fries. And, you know, they got them now in the store where you can get the checker fries in the bag and then just come home and, you know, fry them yourself or whatnot, whatever you do. So sometimes I'll do like chicken tenders and I'll get like the checker fries. Or sometimes I get the, what's that other place, y'all? Shoot. The name that left my head, y'all. The one that be having the curly fries. It'll come to me. But anyway, the curly fries, they got them. The restaurant fries, they got them in the bag. So you can just grab them and, you know, fry them up at home. So I like making them fries and stuff with the chicken tenders. Blueberry said, I'm 85% vegetarian. I don't eat meat protein, but only maybe once or twice a month. Yeah. That's good. That's good, you know? Because, you know, we don't need all of that meat like they used to tell us. Remember back in the day, when we was in school and stuff, they had the food groups and stuff in the little food pyramid chart. Like that was the furthest thing from true. Like they were telling us like this is how you gotta eat on that food pyramid chart, and that's not true. We learn now as we get in the real history and the real information about like diets and what's healthy and stuff for our bodies. Like those food pyramids and stuff is so fake. It was not real at all. They lied to us. Palau rice? Yeah, palau rice. I don't know. I've seen that on the shelf, Imani. I don't think I've tried that one. I'm gonna have to try that one. Palau rice. Blueberry said bacon required. Exactly. That's the thing. And I did go to I started culinary school, y'all. Started culinary school. I didn't finish because I had to take a job. But yeah, that is the one thing because you know they have different classes and stuff. And so one of the classes they have is baking and pastry. They got like baking and pastry 1 and then baking and pastry 2. And so when I started taking those classes, that is one thing that is very important when you're doing like baking and pastries. You definitely have to pay very close attention to measurements and make sure those measurements are right. Because anything that's like the slight bit off when it comes to measurement, it'll mess it up. You know, it is definitely a science. It's, you know, like chemistry. And then Blueberry said, the men in my family all cook. We are blessed. Isn't it nice, right? Because then it like it don't all gotta fall on the women. It all gotta fall on you. Like the men can be in there chefing it up too. B Love said, my niece is Jamaican. She throw down. Oof, oof. I love me some Jamaican food for real. Like my best friend growing up, there's Jamaican, and we close, so we call each other family and stuff like that. So it's like my cousin, and so I call her mama my auntie. But yeah, she showed me how to make a few Jamaican dishes. So I know how to make like curry chicken, jerk chicken, rice and peas, you know. And on the holidays, like, you know, a lot of people will do like a turkey or like a roast or something like that. She used to always make a leg of lamb every holiday, like on Christmas and Thanksgiving. Instead of like a turkey or a bird, she make a leg of lamb, and that lamb be busting. But yeah, I love me some Jamaican food. He said my son wants cast iron pans and Dutch ovens for gifts. That's cool. That is really cool. That's the best gift that anybody could give me for real. Honestly, like a appliance, you know, like a cooking or a kitchen appliance or some pans, you know what I mean, or some cutlery or something like that. Somebody buy that for me for a gift, I'd be so happy. I love kitchen stuff because I be in the kitchen, I be needing my stuff. Twice baked potatoes. So I buy them for home. Yeah. Food brings people together. Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. Like breaking bread is really important, you know. Sonic is really good too. Sonic has some good hot dogs. And then they have like the different type, you know, like the Chicago dog, you know, all the different ones with the different toppings and stuff. I seen they got a lot of those on the menu. The Sonic is pretty tasty too. And I like when you drive up. And I know the one like a few years ago, the one we had here when we used to drive up, is optional. But sometimes the car hop, what they call them, car hops or something like that, they can either decide if they want to wear like sneakers or regular shoes, or they can wear skeets. I love that because it reminds me of like them little drive-in diners they used to have like back in the 50s and stuff like that, where they would come out with the skates on and skate up, you know, and bring you your food. I think that's so dope. It is American standard to have meat at every meal. Yeah. And we don't need it. We really don't. We don't need meat really, like at all. But you know, we didn't got so adapted to it now. My niece liked to make jasmine rice. Jasmine rice is really, really good. Working in a restaurant kitchen is a difficult, high pressure job. Yeah, it is. That's one of the hardest jobs, especially at like a 5-star restaurant or something like that. It don't even have to be 5-star, but you think about like with the 5-star restaurant, they get so much traffic, you know what I mean? And so it's just like it's always constantly busy. Y'all watch that movie Ratatouille? I like that movie Ratatouille. A lot of yelling, cursing in a restaurant kitchens around me in the tea sector. Yeah, it'd be rough back there. People would be mad at each other. The stress tension be high in the kitchens back in the restaurant. And then when they come out to serve the food and that door swing open, all you hear is them in there yelling and cussing and fussing at each other. For real. All right, let's go ahead and finish up this one, y'all. We're going to get into the next video. I don't want to hold y'all too long. I know I'm already making y'all hungry. Some of y'all getting food already. Please share. All right, here we go.
Pot meals. Everything you need is in one pot.
Our grandparents taught us to love and to share. And you know, love is such a powerful word, big and powerful. But some of the black don't know it. Some of the white don't know it. They don't know what that word means to say love. But if they just can pick up this year and turn it down for a new world and a new time.
Meet Reading Eggs Homeschool Max, the brand new all-in-one homeschool platform you've been.
It will be a beautiful world to live in because you know one thing, you will learn how to share, you will learn how to care and to love other people.
I think food is maybe that one common denominator that can bring everybody to the table. I'm seeing it. I mean, I'm seeing people who my age and younger who say, wait a minute, let's embrace our culture and our roots. And I'm fortunate to still be able to live in the culture and be able to go and sit with somebody like Miss Emily, sit with my grandmother who's 91, and just have a conversation. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to hear those voices. And then soon it's going to be me at that spot, you know, if I'm blessed enough to get to that point. And I want to be able to give the things that I've been told to that next generation.
BJ, we're here on the porch, rocking chairs with the legend of the islands, Miss Emily. What does being here do for you?
It gives me a peace of mind. I'm at ease. Every other thing that I got going on, you know, trying to get this gig and do this, that all goes away.
The meal that you prepared for us was
Love it.
so delicious.
Well, glad you enjoyed it.
The red rice, that stuffed, beautiful stuffed fish, the parsley rice. There's a lot of rice.
Mm-hmm. That's the tradition for the island is rice.
Yeah. Absolute honor. Thank you for making this happen. Thank you, Miss Emily, for allowing me to visit you and to help you make this beautiful meal, even though I almost messed it up. It was amazing to learn from you. Seriously, it was incredible to watch you work, and it's been a real pleasure.
But it was a pleasure having you.
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all this next video real quick. It's just an interview with her. It's only 6 minutes. It's just a short one, and then we'll get on to the clam chowder. But yeah, they did an interview with her for her recipe or whatnot. And so that was pretty dope to watch as well, where she was teaching people how to make it so you can see the recipe really broken down. So let me go ahead and put that up real quick. And we'll watch that, and then we'll move on to the clam chowder. Oh my God, I'm getting hungry.
This morning, our series, The Dish, visits the South Carolina Lowcountry to meet a longtime cook who's being honored for a lifetime of service to her community. Emily Meggett is 89 years old, and she just published her first cookbook. It celebrates the food and culture of the Gullah descendants of West and Central Africans who were enslaved and brought to the lower Atlantic states. Jerika Duncan traveled to Edisto Island near Charleston to meet the author and cook.
It's a welcome sign to anyone looking for a home-cooked meal.
So you have an open door policy?
Open door, walk right in. All you have to do is sprinkle a little flour on it.
At 89 years old, Meggett, or Miss Emily, as she's known around Edisto Island, cooks daily. And she's always prepared to serve extra, whether for one, or in this case, 100.
My grandmother said, don't never cook just enough for you. Always cook more, because you don't know who's going to walk in that door.
Wow, it's good. There's something about this chicken.
On this small island of about 2,000 people, everyone seems to know Miss Emily. In fact, the owner of the local market doesn't charge her for anything.
Because tomorrow she'll have squash for us, or biscuits, or cornbread.
She's dear to my heart and many others in this region. She's one of a kind.
Local chef BJ Dennis considers her the matriarch of this community.
The history, the food, the culture, all that is wrapped up in Emily Meggett. So Edisto Island and Emily Meggett just go hand in hand.
We spent some time with Miss Emily in her kitchen and watched as she prepared casserole, baked chicken.
That's it.
Now, watch the magic.
And red rice.
Now, how do you know how much to use?
Imagination.
Imagination.
In your brain, in your heart.
From okra to yellow squash, salt pork, and seafood, Miss Emily's Gullah culture has influenced all of her cuisines.
This is good.
It's a culture that goes back to her enslaved ancestors, whose experience growing rice in Africa allowed South Carolina's Low Country's economy to flourish. To this day, red rice is a Gullah staple.
Where does your love for cooking come from?
My grandmother was a cook, and she taught me how to cook, because I didn't like going out in the field to work. So she would say, you stay home and you cook, clean the house, and then bring us our lunch.
At the age of 22, Emily took a job at this mansion. She washed dishes for the Dodge family, earning just $11.15 a week.
It was fun.
Mm-hmm. It was fun.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Until I had to do that cooking.
What was the hardest dish for you to get right when you first started?
That
really?
biscuit.
The biscuit was the toughest one.
Oh, couldn't get that biscuit right for nothing.
But the head cook at the house, a Gullah woman named Julia Brown, helped Megan with a dash of tough love.
If I didn't do it right, she would throw it in the garbage can. She said, you're going to do it right, and if you don't do it right, you're going to do it over again. And I did it over and over, but I got it right.
She spent nearly 50 years working there, 12-hour days, all while she and her late husband, Jesse, raised 11 children.
How did you do it?
I guess by the grace of the good Lord.
When the mansion was sold, Miss Emily spent summers cooking for Becky Smith and her family.
She has this amazing ability to make the cooking look like it's just nothing, effortless. And she can do it and talk and give you stories and wisdom and engage. I just thought this is one incredible woman, and just said to her, Emily, the world needs to know you.
About 2 decades ago, Smith began encouraging Miss Emily to write a cookbook. But that meant reverse engineering nearly 200 dishes, taking recipes from Miss Emily's imagination and putting them to paper. The result, Miss Emily's life, her cooking, and culture all boiled down to this 282-page book. In April, the community threw a party for their favorite cook turned author, with people lining up, not for a meal, but for an autograph.
It was amazing.
It's the most wonderful thing to see someone who's lived her life just in such a quiet yet powerful way be so honored. It's the most wonderful thing to witness.
And just last month, another memorable moment.
On behalf of the American people, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you.
She received the President's Volunteer Service Lifetime Achievement Award.
You did it all.
We are just so grateful to God for what he has done at this beautiful age of 89.
She never imagined her cooking would lead to this. But when love is baked into everything you serve, there's always a craving for more.
Wow, Miss Emily loved everything about her.
Yes.
And her story. And I love her red hat and her red outfit as she's sitting there talking to you.
She is sharp.
What a treasure.
She is sharp on all fronts. And the family, they were so welcoming. I plan to go back there. They invited me back for.
Okay. Charleston has such good food.
Oh, yeah.
Did you bring this back for us?
I did bring this back.
You're right, Tony. Charleston
I did. I
Where's
actually
it out there?
took this recipe in the book, the red rice, which is a staple, as you heard in the piece. So I want you guys to take a...
Wait. So did Emily make this? Or
No,
did you-
I made it. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
man, I don't know if I want it now.
Here we go.
He's talking about did Emily make this? She was like, no, I made it. I don't know if I want it now. But she got the recipe, y'all. She got the recipe. Child, give me some. Give me some. Let me see what they think, y'all. Let me see what they think. I bet you she threw down, though. She did it good.
No, I'm joking. I got faith in you, Jerika.
Jerika, this is dynamite.
Ooh, okay.
Dynamite.
Is it? You really like it?
I really like it. This will
Okay.
be gone by
Thank
the end of the
you.
show. 8:44.
So
Stick
here's-
around.
Here's the thing. The rice is a little hard. I'll be honest.
I like her nail.
No.
You like it like that?
Yeah. You must put it in the pan when the
When
pan's hot.
I called Miss Emily's daughter Laverne several times yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And she encouraged me and told me, as long as the flavor's there, you're good.
As my relatives say, you put your foot in this, bunions and all.
I don't get that at all. This is delicious.
I would
I
say
wanna
the
copy
flavor
How
is
you know
there.
I got a bunion? No.
Because the flavor is there. Flavor's definitely there.
Thank you.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. I like that, y'all. So we're gonna get to the next video, y'all, in just a minute. That was real cute. We're going to go right on over, like I said, within this live, we were doing half and half. So we were doing some historical like Black or African American dishes that are very well known. And then we also gonna do some that's, more so like European or Caucasian dishes as well. But child, food is food. We all eating it all. So you know what I'm saying? But we'll get into that in just a moment because we're gonna be going into the clam chowder next. So let's take a quick song break, and then after that song break, I'm gonna get the video for the clam chowder all set up here. And we'll get into that, y'all. So I'll be right back. Let's get up and dance. I got a little bop I'm gonna play for us, okay? All right, I'll see y'all in a minute.
that's a safe bet. From the impossible to the it is done, the
All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into the next video. Let me get this over here for y'all. So we're gonna be looking at the oyster bar and clam chowder, okay? And this is in the Union Oyster House of Boston. So this is a restaurant that's there. This is Mark Wins, and he says he's a full-time eater, y'all. But yes, he goes around to a lot of different restaurants and whatnot and try their, dishes, especially if it is a dish that is, signature. And so let's go ahead and watch this together, y'all, of this restaurant that serves like this excellent clam chowder. So let's go ahead and get into it all the way in Boston. All right, y'all, meet y'all in the chat.
Hey everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. It's Mark Weens. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, and today we're gonna go eat at what is the oldest continually operated restaurant in the United States. Since 1826, they've been serving classic, iconic New England food. When it comes to historical restaurants, this is the most historical possible restaurant you can eat at in the United States. I'm gonna do it Daniel Webster style, leaning. I'm going to share with you all of the oysters, all of the seafood, everything coming up in this video right now. I just have to sit here for 1 second. The JFK booth where he sat. From downtown Boston, you walk down this cobblestone street and there's this little area full of just legendary, iconic restaurants, the oldest tavern in America. And then over on this side is the Union Oyster House, open since 1826. Again, it's the oldest continually operating restaurant in the United States. And the actual building is actually way older than the restaurant. It dates back to 1704. And so it's a privilege to have a chance to eat lunch here. And we're getting here right as they open, immediately as they're open. So we're gonna hopefully meet the chef and also see some of the cooking before we start eating. All right, here we go. Met up with Chef Rico, the head chef. He's going to show us around the kitchen. He's going to show us the dishes that we're ordering, some of the dishes that we're ordering, and we're going to have an exclusive access to the kitchen to see the behind the scenes where your food comes from at the Union Oyster House. Chef Rico, can you tell me one more time how many seats does the restaurant have?
550 seats.
550 seats.
Made up of 5 small buildings and 9 dining rooms.
Wow.
Yeah. So like right now we're in the oldest building. So the clam chowder sits here.
Yeah. Wow. You can see how thick, how rich it is, and the chunkiness of those clams.
Yeah, we prefer it to be thick.
Wow.
Right?
Yep.
No bowls, hot.
Another classic dish is the Boston baked beans.
Yes. Been serving these also since the 1800s. So this is classic with salt pork.
With salt pork, okay.
Molasses, brown sugar.
Wow. Those are 2 of the must-eat dishes when you come to Union Oyster House. You cannot come here without the chowder. And then Boston baked beans is another classic that you have to order. Butter goes on.
So that's how we do it.
So New England scrod, is it haddock?
It's actually cod.
It's cod, okay.
Haddock
in
is
the
a
butter.
different species. Butter,
okay.
seasoned crumbs. Goes right over here.
So this is cod fish.
And the reason I didn't was because it wasn't there.
Not really.
I'm gonna put it back in the oven.
And how long does that cook for, Chef?
8 to 9 minutes.
All right. Yeah, intensity's starting to pick up. At what time does it really get busy here?
Yeah, about 10 more minutes.
So like 11:15, 11:30?
11:30, they actually start going.
All right. So we come out of the almost underground kitchen down there.
We call that first kitchen.
That's the first kitchen.
It was the original kitchen when the restaurant was built.
That was the original kitchen
Right.
too.
And this is called Sea Grill.
So that must be one of the oldest kitchens
Right, the equipment's not old.
in the United States too. Okay, yes, it's been
Yeah, we
updated.
modernized the kitchen.
Yeah.
As well as we modernized this kitchen as well. To start the mussel dish,
Oh, nice.
just a little bit of garlic butter. And then we'll come over here and we will take some chopped Bermuda onions. And we are starting out with a cold pan because we don't want to brown the onions. I wanted to basically get some caramelization, and we'll use a hot pan. Over here, I'll add my mussels. These mussels are actually from Maine, where we were last.
okay.
These are Maine mussels. And these are cleaned mussels. We've already cleaned them. We've removed the beard from here. Scrubbed them down so you can see they're nice and shiny. We're going to add a little bit of broth here. And that's going to help them steam open a little bit. It's also going to add to the flavor of it.
All right.
So we'll get those started right here on the stove. We're going to add a little bit of white wine, just a little splash. And then we're going to cover them so they can steam open. And that's just really to get them flavor.
You can smell that garlic. You can smell that
Smell the
broth.
wine,
Yeah,
garlic.
the wine in there too.
See? We're just about ready.
Oh yeah.
All right, cover them back up.
All right.
We're going to check our garlic right now. It should be ready.
Oh, and served with the garlic bread. Yes.
Okay. You can see it's
Oh,
nice
nice.
and bubbling.
Is there cheese on there too?
There's a little bit of cheese as well.
Okay. Mussels are ready.
All right.
Oh, then immediately open up that cover and you smell that white wine. Oh, and the onions in there too.
Yeah, and you can see how plump they are. Bermuda onions on top. Cover it.
All right.
And that's the finished dish.
Okay, great.
We're going to start with a cold pan, but we're using warm butter to get us started. So we're going to add in the garlic, and we don't want the pan too hot because we don't want the garlic to just a perfume. Stir it around, that garlic perfume. A shrimp peeled and veined. And this dish will get 4 shrimp. And we also use fresh New England scallops. And then we'll go right back to the stove and do a quick saute on this. Get that to cook over. Sun-dried tomato pesto.
Oh, that's so aromatic.
Then we're going to add in some heavy cream. We're going to bring this up to a full boil.
This is called the seared shrimp and scallops.
Yes.
That smells so good. The sun-dried tomato pesto, and then finishes that off with some heavy cream. It's going to reduce that down. The garlic. That smells amazing.
So we're going to start out with some rice. We're going to lay that right down the center of the plate. Now we're ready to pick up the order and plate. We'll use the rice as a way to display the seafood.
So rich. Thank you, Chef Rico. That scrod is ready.
Right here. We'll go right over to the plate.
Yep. Served with rice typically?
Yes, you can serve it with rice, French fries, and vegetable. And you can just basically classic baby carrots with a little bit of an orange glaze. Finish with a piece of lemon. And a final touch, just a little sprinkle of fresh chopped parsley.
All right, thanks, man.
No problem. Head on over to the raw bar.
All right.
So this bar is actually original. It's been here since 1826.
This is the bar that Daniel Webster
sat at? He actually stood at it. So the stools were added a little bit later. That's why there's a little bit of a slant to the bar. It was originally actually a leaning bar.
Ah.
But yeah, this is the original one. Back behind where they're shucking on is hand-carved soapstone. They filled it up with a cement and epoxy to keep it together. But it's the original one from 1826. 195 years old. Fishing day, they can do 8,000 oysters.
What type of oysters are these?
So we get all our oysters local.
Okay.
We have multiple distributors, mainly Cape Cod, South Shore, Massachusetts, Beach Plum from Westport, Mass, and then we have some Barnstable from right in Mid-Cape.
All right.
Great arm workout.
Great arm workout.
Arm workout.
Amazing. I know how hard it is.
I never have to go back to the gym if I do this 7 days a week.
You gonna work out every day?
Yeah. Just bang on the rock.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely got to see the other. One of the allures of the bar is because of the slants. We had to make a little wedge here.
Okay.
Keep the plate level.
Okay. What would be the classic New England way to eat an oyster?
Okay, if you're a purist, you use just lemon.
Oh, okay.
Lemon will just accentuate the briny flavor of the specific oyster. And since you live in Thailand,
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll like the horseradish.
Oh, I love horseradish. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Just a little squeeze of lemon.
Lemon.
Okay, here we go.
No.
First oyster at the Union Oyster House.
All right.
Mm. Oh, wow. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it really
It's so fresh. Yes.
It really is. You may want to try the put a little cocktail sauce.
A little
in
cocktail
one.
sauce? Okay.
And then yeah, let's do this.
Oh, man.
Just put a
So
little-
fresh.
if you don't mind.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Famous clam chowder to start.
Thank you, Wesley.
You are welcome. On a busy day, we can sell 100 gallons of it. Next up, we have classic Boston scrod.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the scrod. Next dish.
This is one of my favorite dishes we do here. It's the pan-seared shrimp and
Oh,
scallops.
yeah. And thank you, Chef Rico.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Very excited to start eating.
Dive right in.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you very much. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
It's mussels done Basque style. So what they do is they cook them in white wine, whipped garlic butter with some shallots, Boston baked beans.
Thank you very much.
So the
Perfect.
history behind this dish was actually that Boston was part of the triangle trade for molasses. So back in the day, molasses would be shipped up from the south, processed, refined, stored here in Boston, and then we'd ship it over to England.
Oh.
So we had an abundance of the product. So
Okay.
we started putting it into all our foods and everything. So we started making beans with molasses. And that style of beans became popular. They made it all over the country, and it was known as Boston baked beans.
Every food has a history too. It's like
America here in Boston.
Yeah,
We'll be
well,
right back to
Boston
your
too.
oysters, guys.
Okay, thank you. Although I still have to begin with the chowder, the clam chowder, the classic, one of the greatest of all New England dishes, and it looks incredible. Mm. Oh, wow. It's so good. It's so creamy. It's so thick. The flavor of the clams, it's really nicely balanced too. And even though it's really thick, it doesn't taste overly buttery or overly rich. It's a great balance. You can tell how warming it is, but I will add a little bit of pepper. I love my clam chowder with pepper. Comes with cornbread. You can taste that sweetness. It's thick, it's hearty, it's really nice and crumbly. That clam chowder, incredible. And I was reading that former President Obama, he ordered 10 bowls of the chowder to go. Here we
Star
go.
of the show.
Yes, there it is.
Oysters from Massachusetts.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that clam chowder is amazing.
Oh, it's the best.
Yes.
I think I put on 20 pounds when I started working here. Just chowder galore. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So that was just that was a lot of black pepper. Polo, that was a lot of black pepper. But yeah, that was just a little bit of that video I wanted to show y'all, how they throw down in the restaurant, the kitchen there, and then, he's doing the taste test. It's been approved. I don't know. Do y'all like clam chowder? Have y'all had clam chowder? Do you like it? Like I said, I'll eat it, but it's got to be like in a restaurant. Like I like the restaurant, how they make their clam chowder. I don't like the one that come in the cans and stuff like that be on the shelf in the grocery store. I don't like that. I need it fresh, you know. But yeah, New England clam chowder is the story of the American Northeast in a bowl. It shows us that early European settlers adapted their old world cream stews to the rugged cold reality of the Atlantic coast. What started as a poverty food used for bait became a symbol of New England's identity. It's a testament to the pioneer spirit or Caucasian pioneer spirit, learning to love the land and the sea exactly as they found it. But anyway, y'all, now we got to go back down to the south. So we're going to get into our next video, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Southern biscuits and gravy, frontier chemistry. The American biscuit is the perfect example of how the New World changed the old. By taking the concept of British scones and pairing it with a softer winter wheat of the American South, pioneers created something entirely new. A light, flaky, laminated miracle. It wasn't just breakfast, it was the fuel that built the American frontier. It's difference between a crumbly tea treat, such as a scone, and a hearty, hard-working meal, such as biscuits and gravy. So let's go ahead and get into that video next, y'all. Give me just a second to get it all set up here. And we'll learn a little bit more about that history and see some of those recipes as well. Do y'all like biscuits and gravy? Oh, Star, you said you don't like it. You don't like clam chowder. Yeah. A lot of people don't like it. It's not for everybody. You know what I mean? It is not for everybody. So that's the thing as well. All right, hold on, y'all. Let me get into this video here. So we got two of them that we're going to show. So first, we got the Southern history of biscuits and Southern living. And then we'll get into, you know, the difference between a biscuit and a scone. Because a lot of people do like scones. Scones are really, really good. I've had scone before. And I like mine sweet. Like I like it with like a jam or a jelly or something like that. But yeah, let me go ahead and get this one set up for us. Hold on, give me 1 second. We'll get into that. And then we'll be, after the biscuits, we're going to be talking about the pizza. And after we talk about the pizza child, we'll be wrapping it up. But I figured this would be something fun and different to do for today. Talk a little bit about food, you know what I mean? So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me play this here. So this is the Southern history of biscuits.
The term biscuit was originally coined by the British, which referred to their thin, cookie and cracker-like biscuit, much different from what it evolved into once it got into the hands of Southern cooks. In the pre-Civil War South, the biscuit was regarded as a delicacy and usually reserved for Sunday lunch or dinner. Now, the cathead biscuit was born out of necessity. They had to get things done quickly. You would simply make your biscuit dough and then pull and drop huge clumps of the buttery dough onto your baking sheet. Then you have the sweet potato biscuit. Sweet potatoes were abundant in the South and were often used as a flour substitute because flour was really hard to come by. Then you have the beaten biscuit, a biscuit that was sort of built to last all day in your lunch pail. You could put it in your overall pocket. It's not nice and layered and fluffy like the others because it had to be durable. Soft winter wheat flour was really hard to come by for Southern biscuit makers. They had to rely on the port cities of Mobile and New Orleans to bring in this product. But when White Lily began making soft winter wheat self-rising flour in Knoxville, Tennessee in 1883, it was very much a game changer for biscuit makers. Here in the South, you know, we kind of kept our biscuits really close to home. It wasn't until the good Colonel Saunders of Kentucky Fried Chicken fame took our biscuits out of the South in 1952 when he opened his first franchise in Utah, of all places, thus bringing the Southern biscuit nationwide. Now, the key to any great biscuit is to not overwork your dough. You'll see here I'm just folding it over and then going to put a little roll onto it, just very gently. Another great tip, keep your cutter floured. And one mistake a lot of biscuits makers make is they twist the cutter. You don't want to do that. You've worked very hard to create these layers. With improvements made on cooking ingredients and techniques, biscuits are one of the easiest things to whip up. They were and always will be a Southern delicacy. You can find them on any table for any meal of the day.
All right, y'all. So now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes when it comes to our next video. So they'll be talking a little bit more about biscuits as well, but also scones. And they're gonna explain to us the difference between biscuits and scones. But y'all, a lot of people really love biscuits. A lot of people really love bread, period. Like anything that's like bread. Some people really have like a drawing to like bread, biscuits, donuts, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But it's very interesting because when we look at some of these contents and stuff, for me, like when I'm looking at food content, I love to learn like the history behind it and the differences, right? Because a lot of times we group it all together and be like, oh, this is just a biscuit. No, it's slightly different. You know what I mean? So I like stuff like that. But anyway, let's get into this next video, y'all. We'll be right back.
Have you ever taken a bite of something and wondered why it tastes so familiar yet feels so different? Maybe you've enjoyed a flaky biscuit with your morning coffee or savored a scone alongside a cup of tea. At first glance, these two baked goods seem pretty similar. They're both buttery, crumbly, and absolutely delicious. Whether you're a home baker, a brunch aficionado, or someone who loves to explore the subtle nuances of comfort food, understanding what sets these two apart is not only fascinating, but also useful. Join me as we uncover what makes biscuits and scones unique from each other. Let's start by traveling back in time to explore where biscuits and scones come from. Biscuits, as we know them in the United States, are a product of Southern cuisine. They trace their roots to British baking traditions, but over time, they evolved into something uniquely American. In the South, biscuits became a staple food due to their simplicity and affordability. Early recipes used basic ingredients like flour, butter, milk, and a leavening agent to create a fluffy and versatile bread that could complement any meal. On the other hand, scones originated in Scotland and are a cornerstone of British and Irish cuisine. The word scone is believed to have derived from the Scots Gaelic term scone, meaning a shapeless mass or lump. Unlike biscuits, which are often served with savory dishes, scones were initially more associated with sweet accompaniments like jam and clotted cream. Over time, they became a quintessential part of afternoon tea, a ritual deeply ingrained in British culture. Let's move on to what goes into these baked goods. Biscuits typically call for all-purpose flour, baking powder or baking soda, butter or shortening, and buttermilk. The emphasis is on achieving a light and flaky texture. The dough is mixed minimally to avoid developing too much gluten, which can make the biscuit tough. The key technique here is cutting in the butter, creating small pockets of fat that produce layers as the dough bakes. Scones, however, lean toward being richer and denser. Their recipes often include heavy cream or whole milk, sometimes an egg and a touch of sugar. Even for savory versions, this gives scones a more tender crumb and a slightly firmer structure. Unlike biscuits, the dough for scones is usually rolled out thicker and cut into triangles, squares, or rounds before baking. Both biscuits and scones rely on cold butter to achieve their signature textures, but the way they're handled during mixing and shaping plays a major role in their final form. Now, let's talk about the experience of biting into a biscuit versus a scone. Biscuits are light, airy, and flaky. When done right, they almost melt in your mouth. The flavor is usually savory, making them a perfect vessel for toppings like butter, honey, or gravy. Southern biscuits, in particular, are prized for their fluffiness, which comes from the use of buttermilk and careful handling of the dough. Scones, on the other hand, are slightly denser and more crumbly. The flavor profile leans sweeter, even in savory versions. They often feature add-ins like dried fruits, chocolate chips, or herbs, adding layers of complexity. The texture is firmer and more structured, making them ideal for slathering with jam or cream without falling apart. Biscuits and scones also have distinct serving styles that highlight their cultural roots. Biscuits are incredibly versatile. In the southern United States, they're often served as a side dish to hearty meals like fried chicken or barbecue. They're also a breakfast staple, paired with eggs, sausage, or gravy. One popular variation is the biscuit sandwich, where a biscuit is split open and filled with meats, cheeses, or even sweet spreads. Scones, by contrast, are synonymous with tea time. They're traditionally served with clotted cream and jam, especially in British households. In the US, scones have become a popular coffee shop item, often paired with a latte or cappuccino. Sweet versions dominate the scene, but savory scones, featuring ingredients like cheese, herbs, or bacon, are also growing in popularity. Both biscuits and scones have regional variations that add even more layers to their identities. In the US, there's the cathead biscuit, a larger, rustic version named for its size, said to resemble a cat's head. On the other hand, angel biscuits incorporate yeast in addition to baking powder, giving them a fluffier texture akin to a dinner roll. Scones also have their fair share of variations. In Scotland, you'll find oat-based scones that are heartier and less sweet. Meanwhile, in Australia and New Zealand, scones are often served with whipped cream and jam, much like the British tradition, but with their own twist. Finally, let's answer the burning question: which one should you choose? The answer depends on your preferences and the occasion. If you're craving something light and fluffy to complement a savory meal, biscuits are the way to go. They're also easier to whip up on short notice, given their minimal ingredients and quick prep time. If you're looking for a sweet or slightly indulgent treat to enjoy with tea or coffee, scones are the better option. Their rich texture and potential for creative add-ins make them a delightful choice for breakfast or an afternoon snack. Ultimately, there's no wrong answer. It's all about what you're in the mood for. So, there you have it. The key differences between biscuits and scones, from their origins and ingredients to their textures and serving styles. While they may share some similarities, these two baked goods have distinct personalities that make them each special in their own right. Whether it's the buttery flakiness of a biscuit or the tender richness of a scone, there's plenty to love about both. Thanks for joining me in exploring the fascinating world of biscuits and scones. If you found this breakdown
All right, y'all. Now I want to say it was fascinating, but y'all, it looked good, and I know it tastes good. So we doing our food trip today, y'all. But now we're going to be moving on. We're moving on from the biscuits, okay? We're gonna get into the Chicago deep dish pizza, the immigrant's dream. So finally, we see that pizza is a global traveler. From its humble peasant beginnings to the street of Naples to the towering cheesy heights of Chicago, pizza is a dish that grows wherever it's planted. The deep dish represents the American dream. This is the version of Italian food, a celebration of abundance, industry, and immigrant families who dare to make a classic dish even bigger. It's a 1,000-year-old curiosity that has found its home in the heart of the Midwest. So let's go ahead and get into that video, y'all. And after that, we will be wrapping up this live. Thank y'all for rocking with me. I appreciate it, but let's learn a little bit about pizza.
shot. What's the Pope's favorite pizza topping? I actually don't know. But in 1570, it might have been rosewater and sugar. And that's what we're making today. A 16th century Italian pizza served in the papal court, which calls for exactly those ingredients. So thank you to Bright Cellars for sponsoring this video as we slice into the history of pizza, this time on Tasting History. So this recipe comes from the Opera di Bartolomeo Scappi, which I did an entire episode on, and I'll put a link up here in the corner so you can watch it, or I'll put one in the description as well. The entire book is filled with recipes that are quintessentially Italian Renaissance, that kind of mixture of sweet and spice that our palate might just be like, what? And this one is no different. Per fare pizza sfogliata ad un altro modo. Another way to prepare flaky pizza. Bring together 3 pounds of fine flour and 2 ounces of yeast starter, 4 ounces of breadcrumb that is soaked in warm water, and enough salt. When the dough is made, let it rest, covered in a warm place to rise, as is done with bread. Then knead it again on the table for a half hour, adding in little by little 2 pounds of fresh butter. Knead until all of the butter has been worked into the dough and it has become soft. Split the dough up into 2 or 3 pieces, and with each piece, make the pizza in a torte pan, which has fresh butter in it. Bake it in an oven with melted butter on top. Make several holes on top with the tip of a knife so it will not puff up too much. When it is nearly done, sprinkle with sugar and rose water. This pastry should be baked slowly and serve it hot. So does that sound at all like a pizza to you? No, not really. But frankly, the definition of pizza it's kind of weird. I mean, look at Chicago-style pizza. It's basically soup. Anyway, for this recipe, what you'll need is 4 cups or 480 grams of bread flour, a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of high-yeast biga. This will need to have a much higher yeast and flour content than your typical sourdough starter, so it might take you a little while to make that or just add in more yeast. If you just want to use dried yeast, I'd use about a teaspoon. 6 tablespoons or 60 grams of breadcrumbs soaked in 1 cup or 120 milliliters of warm water. An additional 1/2 cup of water. 2 teaspoons of salt. 1 pound or 400 grams of unsalted butter cut into pieces. So usually during Scappi's time, butter would have a lot of salt in it, more than we'd be used to. But he specifically in this recipe calls for fresh butter. So my thought is that he's not adding the salt because the salt was added as a preservative. I don't know that. But he also calls out salt individually in the recipe, so we're doing unsalted butter and just adding salt where we need. 2 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of rose water. Now you'll notice that these are not the exact quantities that Scappi called for because he must be making a pizza to feed, well, the entire papal court, which he probably was. I cut everything in half, and it's still a lot of dough. So first, whisk the salt into the flour, then add your yeast and soaked breadcrumbs, and then mix everything together. Then add in the additional 1/2 cup of water, but only as much as you need to make it form a dough. This dough ends up being super, super sticky once you add in all of the butter, so don't add any more water than you need to get it to come together. If you need to add more later on, you can, but it's going to be real sticky. Then knead the dough for about 10 minutes until the dough starts to smooth out. Then put it in a lightly greased bowl and cover, allowing it to double in size. Now, depending on the yeast, it could take 2 to 4 hours to rise. Mine took about 4, but it was so worth the wait. Plus, it gave me time to pour myself a glass of wine, courtesy of today's sponsor, Bright Cellars. Now, if you've ever watched this show before, you will know that occasionally I do enjoy a glass of wine. And one of my favorite things about wine is trying new wines. But whenever I go to the store, I always end up getting the same wines that I know because I already know that I'm going to like them. So the cure to my wine monotony I found is Bright Cellars. You take a 7-question quiz on what you enjoy, and then they send you a box of wine. Also, if ever you don't like one of the wines that they send, they will send you a replacement wine in your next box. So you got nothing to lose. I told them what I like, and they sent me a wonderful selection of full-bodied, juicy red wines like this Syrah. It's called Pet Name, and Jamie chose it. Jamie liked the name, so that's why he went with it, but I like a Syrah. Que Syrah, Syrah. Whatever would be, you know. Oh, that's nice. It's got a lot of fruit in it. Those plums, those blackberries, it's everything I like. The quiz worked.
Also, don't give your cats wine, but do let them play in the box the wine comes in. So for viewers of Tasting History, Bright Cellars is giving you 60% off of your first 4-bottle box. Just click the link in the description and take your quiz to get started. Now, back to your regularly scheduled pizza. Once the dough is risen, punch it down and turn it out onto a lightly floured surface. Stretch it into a square or rectangle and scatter a few pieces of butter on top, then fold it over to cover the butter. Then knead it until the butter is fully incorporated. Then do this again, and again, and again, until all of the butter is incorporated. Pro tip, use a stand mixer if you got it. Also, as you add butter into this dough, it is going to get super, super sticky. And if it becomes too sticky to work with, which it probably will at some point, just add some more flour. 1 or 2 tablespoons at a time, just to keep it, in dough form rather than like liquid butter form.
Fattening.
Once all the butter is incorporated and the dough is silky smooth, divide it into 3 pieces, then let it rest, preferably in the refrigerator, for about a half an hour. And while you wait, preheat your oven to 350 Fahrenheit or 175 Celsius. Then butter the bottom and the sides of a large pie or cake pan. It's going to work best if you have one of those false bottom cake pans. It's just easier to get out, but you don't need it. What you do want to use is the biggest frickin' pan that you can find, because even halved, which is what I'm doing, this recipe calls for a lot of dough. You can also half what I'm doing, which is a quarter of what Scappi's doing, because, if you don't have a 10-inch cake pan, which is what I used, half it. Once the dough is rested, roll it into discs the diameter of the pan and form the pizza by layering the dough pieces in the pan on top of each other. Then top it all off by brushing on a layer of melted butter. Then, using a knife, poke some holes all over the top to keep it from puffing up too much. Then set the pizza on a lined baking sheet and bake for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Now that is a long bake time, but it's because it's a lot of frickin' dough. But that gives me time to top off my glass of wine and tell you how we got from this pizza to this pizza. So when tracking the history of pizza, we really have to figure out where to start, because if your idea of pizza is just some flatbread with stuff on it, then the ancient Greeks, Egyptians, and Indians had pizza. But I don't consider naan with some oil on it pizza. In the 6th century BC, Persian soldiers under Darius the Great baked flatbread on their shields and put cheese and dates on top. Closer, but pizza? They didn't call it pizza. And frankly, if you're going to call that pizza, then you have to call pancakes that have syrup and berries on it pizza. And then where do you draw the line? Is tostada a pizza?
No, I don't think so.
Well, then when does pizza become a thing? Well, the very first mention of pizza using the word pizza comes from 997 in Gaeta, Italy. It was found in a contract between Bernardo, the son of Duke Marino II, and the Bishop of Gaeta. And basically, if Bernardo wanted to use the bishop's mill, then every year on Christmas Day, you and your heirs must pay us 12 pizze, 12 pizzas. And similarly, 12 pizzas and a couple of chickens on the day of Holy Easter of Resurrection. So even before our papal pizza today, bishops were eating it. Very popular dish amongst the clergy. Now, the first recipe for something called pizza comes from 1524 in the Manoscritto Lucano. And then, some years later, in 1570, we have 5 pizza recipes in Bartolomeo Scappi's opera, which we are making one of today. Scappi is also the first mention of that link between Naples and pizza. To prepare a torte with various ingredients called pizza by Neapolitans. Though some of the ingredients include pine nuts, dates, figs, raisins, and cinnamon, none of which are available at Domino's. Maybe at Papa John's, though. Now, that connection between Naples and pizza is very important because Naples is often credited with being the birthplace of what we know as pizza today. But it was not papal pizza like we are making today. It is poor people pizza. It was a food for the poor, or the lazzarone, as Alexandre Dumas said. And he didn't seem to hold them in high regard. But the pizza that they were eating sounds a lot more like what we would know as pizza today. The lazzarone usually eats 2 things, pizza and watermelon. Pizza is round in shape and is kneaded from the same dough as bread. It comes in different widths depending on the price. A 2-farthing pizza is enough for a man. A 2-penny should fill a whole family. The pizza is with oil. The pizza is with bacon. The pizza is with lard. The pizza is with cheese. The pizza is with tomatoes. The pizza is with small fish. The word pizza has lost all meaning at this point in the video. Now, he mentions cheese and tomatoes, and those, I would think, are pretty important to pizza today. And for more on the amazing history of tomatoes specifically, you should watch this video up here, I'll put it in the description, on the history of tomatoes, aka the badass name Wolf Peach. It's a really good video. Now, the Lazzarone mostly ate these pizzas on weekdays as they saved up their money so they could buy macaroni on Sundays, though macaroni did not necessarily look like macaroni as we think of it. And if you still had trouble saving up enough, then you could get a discount pizza if you were fine with day-old pizza, which I usually am. Dumas even says there are week-old pizzas for those with small purses. These can, if not pleasantly, at least advantageously replace seafood biscuits. Week-old pizza before refrigerators?
The cheese is old and moldy.
I'm guessing it was one of these pizzas that prompted Samuel Morse, the inventor of the telegraph, to describe pizza as a species of most nauseating cake covered over with slices of pomodoro or tomatoes and sprinkled with little fish and black pepper and I know not what other ingredients. It altogether looks like a piece of bread that had been taken reeking out of the sewer. That was probably just a piece of Chicago-style deep dish. Ooh, fighting words. Now, in general, the pizza was not looked on with high regard, and Dumas even says you can't eat a pizza without risking suffocation. Was Dumas a drama queen or severely gluten intolerant? You decide. Though I do wonder if Dumas actually mixed up this week-old pizza with pizza a otto, which was basically you got fresh pizza today, but you had to pay for it 8 days later, like layaway or the payday lenders of 19th century Naples. Now, these pizzas tended to be small, kind of personal-sized pizzas that were sold on the streets by street vendors, though there were some more reputable locations where you could eat pizza, including a tavern that was founded in the 18th century called Pizzeria di Pietro e Basta Così, which translates roughly to the most stereotypically Italian-sounding name ever. Peter's Pizza Place, and that's enough. How great is that? And it is in this shop, later renamed Pizzeria Brandi, where we get pizza's most famous origin story. It's probably, well, it's definitely not completely true. It's probably somewhat true, but here it is. In 1889, Umberto I, king of a recently unified Italy, and his wife, Queen Margherita, decided to branch out from the French cuisine of the palace and headed to Naples, where they commissioned Raffaele Esposito, the then owner of Pizzeria Brandi, to make 3 pizzas, one with lard, one with fish, and one with basil, tomato, and fresh mozzarella. Queen Margherita tried the first pizza and said, "This pizza is too fatty." She tried the second pizza and said, "This pizza is too fishy." Finally, she tried the third pizza, the one with mozzarella, tomato, and basil, and she said, "This pizza is just right." And thus was born the Pizza Margherita. It even had the 3 colori, or colors, of the Italian flag: green basil, white mozzarella, and red tomatoes. Again, probably not entirely true. Well, it's definitely not entirely true, but there might be some truth to it. But Naples says that this is how it happened, and the story is just too good not to accept without question. But even with the Queen on board, pizza still stayed a food of the poor, and thank God it did, because those were the people who brought it to America. In the late 19th and early 20th century, poor Italian immigrants brought pizza to the streets of New York City. Now, pizza was being sold all over the streets of New York, especially.
Wow, y'all. So y'all see how that works. Just like with a lot of different foods and things, you know, what people sometimes have to do just because the circumstance turns out to be historically something that's amazing and great for a long period of time. So even the history behind pizza, that's another food where it was like, that was something that, you know, people could just whip up real quick so they could have something to eat and nourish the body. Especially being, you know, not having a lot of funds or being on the poorer side. And then you see how those things get brought and, you know, spread around, and they become some of the most best foods in history that people love to eat and will pay good money for. So, you know, pizza is good. I think everybody loves pizza. I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't. I know there's some people that might be, you know, lactose intolerant. So they might not eat pizza because of the cheese and stuff like that. Or maybe they peel it off. Like my neighbor that lives upstairs, she eats pizza. She loves pizza, but when she gets the pizza, she peels everything off of it and just eat the bread. I'm just like, then that's not really pizza. You know what I mean? But that's how she likes it. She'll get her pizza and take everything off, all of the toppings off, including the cheese, and then just eat like the bread and the sauce. But yeah, pretty interesting history. So we just about finished with this video, y'all. After we wrap this video up, we're gonna wrap this live up because it's already been going on almost 3 hours now, y'all. Thanks for kicking and rocking with me. I hope y'all having fun on this. And like I said, as we do multiple episodes, we will have different entrees and recipes and foods, not just here in America, but internationally, all over the globe. There's so much good food out there, y'all. So many good recipes. And we'll be getting into all of them. So let's go ahead and finish this one off. And I'll be right back after that. You know, we end it with a bop per usual. But yeah, we're almost reaching the end of the live, y'all. So let's let this video finish.
In Little Italy, but the first place that is credited with the first pizza, because they went and got a license, that's why, is called Lombardi's on Spring and Mott Street in Little Italy, and that is just 1 block from my first New York apartment. It was so small, great area, but it was so small that my bedroom door could not open all the way because I had a twin bed in there, and that got in the way. So could you really call it a bedroom if it can't fit a bed? But pizza still really hadn't taken off outside of the Italian-American community. For that, we would have to go to war. When our brave boys returned home from fighting in Italy in WW2, they brought back a love of Italian food. And one of those Italian foods was pizza. It was the perfect food for the new suburban lifestyle. It could be made at home, or it could be made for delivery. And pizza places started popping up in cities all over the country. In 1958, Pizza Hut opened.
Pizza Hut!
And in 1960, Tom and James Monahan bought the Michigan pizzeria Dominic's and changed the name to Domino's. This is also when frozen pizza was becoming popular. And I do love a frozen pizza. To this day, I cannot do Halloween. Halloween has to start with a Red Baron pizza. I do not know why, but every Halloween I eat myself an entire Red Baron pizza all by myself, just as I did when I was a little kid. I was a chubby kid. I was a big kid. I wore husky pants, but man, I do love a Red Baron pizza. I only do it once a year now, though. What's interesting is that back in Old Italy, pizza still hadn't really gotten out of Naples and a few other places like Sicily. But when American tourists started showing up in Italy and they wanted pizza and pizza, the other parts of Italy had to step up and start making their own kinds of pizza. And it didn't go great at first. Some of the country was so bad at mimicking Neapolitan pizza that the city of Naples founded AVPN, or the Associazione Verace Pizza Napoletana, which laid the groundwork for what makes pizza pizza. But I think that it was a little too late. The cat was already out of the bag, because here in America, we were making sushi pizza and pizza bagels, and we had really done whatever we want with pizza. Heck, you could even come over to my house later tonight and have yourself a pizza with rose water and sugar, because I'm pretty sure my pizza's about done. So at 1 hour and 15 minutes, open up the oven and quickly brush on the rose water and sprinkle with sugar. Then let it bake for another 15 minutes or until it's baked all the way through. And then your papal pizza is ready to eat. And here we are, Scappi's pizza from the Italian Renaissance. Now this is a real pizza work. So it smells amazing. I mean, it smells like fresh, it kind of smells like croissants. I let it cool.
Look at that pizza, y'all. Okay, so as we have learned, like the history of what he's saying, that, you know, very early on, pizza did start out very plain, right? And it adapted, you know, through time as far as like the sauces and the toppings and all that. But I'm looking at him and this slice of what he got on this plate, and I'm like, sir, that look like a cornbread. Like that look like just bread. Where is the sauce? Where's the cheese? Where is the pepperonis? Where's the sausage? Like where are the toppings? I'm not seeing anything. But again, this is the original pizza. And then it adapted and evolved along the way. So child, very interesting. Very interesting. Look at this, y'all. This looks like a piece of bread or a cake. Sir.
You need to let it cool before you cut into it because the butter needs so much butter.
Where's
here we
the
go. Let's give this a taste. I don't think maybe it overrose or I'm not sure. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah. But some people do like just the bread.
That's delicious.
It's delicious.
It's not pizza. I mean, that's fantastic. The rose is so subtle. I didn't just taste some of the top. The rose is so subtle.
Rose water, that's very different. You know what I mean? Like I've never heard of that, like rose water, but that's just like historically and stuff, you know, it's very interesting, like where something starts to where it ends off, what you have later, you know, like years and years down the line. But we're talking about 500 years ago, y'all. This is the pizza from 500 years ago.
Zero on the top. That's wonderful. Wow. I would make it thinner next time. I'd do like a half of my recipe. I really think that that's probably the way to go. This is nice, but oh my God, it's so much bread. You know, we're not going to eat this. But is it pizza? I mean, it's called pizza, but I think it would be like if somebody said, hey, are you a doctor? And I said, yes, I'm a doctor. And then they found out I'm a doctor of, you know, like the oboe performance or something like that. I mean, yeah, I'm a doctor, but I'm not a doctor. By the way, I'm not a doctor of anything, so that's just a story. But this is some really good pizza. Just, you know, don't tell your friends that it's pizza. They'll think you're crazy. Instead, tell them this is pizza, which is also delicious, and this is what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. I'll see you next time on Tasting History.
Thought that was fun because you know, historically and stuff, y'all, let me talk about 500 years ago. That is what pizza was 500 years ago. It's not the pizza that we know today, y'all. But let me go ahead and show y'all exactly what the pizza we know about today is. The pizza we love and we enjoy. So we'll play that as our final piece of content for the live chat, and we're gonna get up out of here because honestly, I might be needing a slice of pizza because I'm hungry. All of this has made me very hungry. Y'all over here eating. Y'all done left me, and it's cool. It's fine because I know y'all went to go get something to eat, so it's cool. Y'all ain't trying to share, send me nothing. You know, it's all right. It's all good. I made y'all nice and hungry. Y'all got y'all food. I'm still over here looking for some. But let's go ahead and look at the more traditional modern day pizza, y'all. And we'll get up out of here after this.
And those who are always curious. Today, we are going to take you on a delicious journey through the history of pizza. That magical circle topped with cheese and joy that has won the bellies and hearts of people all over the world. Grab a slice and prepare yourself to taste every bit of this appetizing history. Our story starts in ancient Greece. Yes, I said Greece, not Italy. Surprised, right? But the Greeks were already baking sheets of a flat dough called plankuntos as the distant ancestors of our much-loved pizza were first documented by Greek authors around the 5th century BC. Plankuntos were a kind of flatbread baked on hot stones or in clay ovens. These flat doughs were sprinkled with a range of ingredients, such as cheese, garlic, onions, and even herbs. Historical records, including writings by authors such as Athenaeus in the 3rd century AD, all mention these delicious dishes, highlighting their role in the everyday diet of ancient Greece. But hold on, an Italian would be quick to say, "Where's the tomato sauce and buffalo mozzarella cheese? That's not pizza." This bread is at most an improved version of Pizza Hut or Domino's, but it's not proper pizza. I'd suggest that my Italian friend try to be a little less enthusiastic, if their nature allows it, of course, because we're still on the first page of our history's menu. Pizza's origins also go back briefly to the Roman Empire, where they also enjoyed a kind of pizza. But if we consider all flatbreads with different flavored toppings as the ancestors of pizza, we would have to talk about the Egyptians, Babylonians, and other Bronze Age peoples who came up with their own recipes long before Europeans. But let's try to make things a little quicker and move on to the Middle Ages. During this period, our beloved pizza underwent a dramatic transformation. From a simple flat dough, it began to look more like the treat we know today. Pizza was a practical dish for the poor in Naples during the Middle Ages. It was cheap, simple to make, and could be topped with almost anything. The dough acted as an edible board on which different ingredients were added, often whatever was available, such as cheeses, olive oil, small fish, and herbs. But don't go thinking that it was a glamorous dish. Pizza was often seen as the sustenance of peasants and the poor, and was far from the high-class cuisine of palaces. Yet it was this same simplicity that allowed pizza to survive the centuries. Its versatility and easy preparation have made it a staple and popular food among the working classes. Despite its modest origins, pizza started to attract the attention of the upper bourgeoisie and even the nobility. Banquets where pizzas were served as an exotic novelty have been recorded. Pizza started to break down social barriers, showing its potential to become a universal dish. The Middle Ages were a crucial period in pizza's history. This is when it began to establish itself as a popular dish, setting the stage for its worldwide rise to fame in the following centuries. As time went by, pizza gradually evolved and spread throughout Italy, but everything changed in the 17th century with the introduction of a revolutionary new ingredient that would become a staple of most pizzas around the world: the tomato. Fresh out of the New World, tomatoes found their one true love: pizza dough. The Italians initially thought that they were poisonous because of their vivid red color. Thankfully, someone was brave enough to defy this myth, and true pizza as we know it was born. The narrow alleys of Naples resounded with the aroma of pizzas baking in wood-fired ovens, topped with cheese, tomatoes, and basil. That was not just food, it was an edible piece of art. Neapolitan pizza is a simple and authentic treasure that proved its worth during a visit by King Umberto I of Italy and Queen Margherita of Savoy. Keen to try some local food, the Queen ordered several pizzas. Among them was one that captured her attention and her palate: a pizza in the colors of the Italian flag: red, white, and green. The man behind this creation was the Neapolitan pizziaiolo Raffaele Esposito, who cooked this special pizza using red tomatoes, white mozzarella, and green basil leaves. Simple, elegant, and delicious. He called it Pizza Margherita after the Queen. And so, one of the most iconic dishes in world cuisine was born. Pizza Margherita was not just an instant hit at the royal court, but also a symbol of Italian unification. Its colors, reflecting those of the Italian flag, were a subtle but powerful gesture of patriotism in a newly unified country. Once a humble peasant dish, pizza was elevated to royal status, going beyond social and cultural barriers. Neapolitan pizzas are well known for the outstanding quality of their ingredients. The tomatoes used are frequently San Marzano tomatoes, cultivated on the volcanic plains at the foot of Mount Vesuvius. These are renowned for their sweet flavor, low acidity, and firm texture, ideal for pizza sauce. Oh, and let's not forget the mozzarella. Real Neapolitan pizza uses mozzarella di bufala, a soft and creamy cheese made from buffalo milk raised in the Campagna marshes. And we must not overlook the dough. Real Neapolitan pizza dough is a marvel. It's made from just 4 simple ingredients: wheat flour, water, yeast, and salt. The magic comes in the kneading process and the fermentation time, giving the dough that light, airy texture, with puffy, crisp edges when it comes out of the wood-fired oven. Having won over the royal palate, pizza was ready for its next adventure, taking on the rest of Italy. When pizza moved out of Neapolitan streets and traveled north, it found new flavors and influences. For example, in Rome, pizza began to take on a thinner, crispier form, contrasting with the softer, airier base of Neapolitan pizza. The Romans also embraced the habit of slicing pizza into squares, an innovation that became popular throughout the city. Pizza history took another delicious turn in Sicily. This is where the sfincione was born, a thicker, fluffier version sprinkled with onions, anchovies, tomatoes, and a touch of oregano and caciocavallo cheese. A real burst of Mediterranean flavors. Making its way further north across Tuscany and Lombardy, pizza started to be seen less as street food and more as a gourmet dish, eaten in upscale restaurants and pizzerias. In such places, local ingredients like porcini mushrooms, truffles, and fine cheeses began to garnish the pizzas, transforming them into immigrants left for the New World during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, especially for the United States and South America. They took with them their traditions, their culture, and of course, their cuisine, including pizza. Pizza found fertile soil for growth in the United States, in cities like New York, Chicago, and Boston, home to many Italian immigrants. The first pizzerias started popping up, initially as small family-run operations. Pizza came in pieces as a quick and affordable snack, and quickly won the sympathy of the American consumer. The true surge in pizza's popularity, nevertheless, came after the Second World War. American and Allied soldiers stationed in Italy were given the opportunity to experience this local treat. When they returned home, they left with a craving for this simple but amazingly tasty food. Pizza then embarked on its global conquest, spanning from North America to South America, from Europe to Asia. Every place pizza touched was revolutionized. New styles emerged, local ingredients were introduced, and pizza turned into a blank canvas for cooking creativity. Oh, the journey of pizza, a tale of love, tradition, and, well, a few gastronomic felonies. We are talking about the pizza revolution in the United States, where pizza took an unexpected turn into the world of fast food and frozen pizzas. Stand by, pizza purists. This bit might make you feel a bit nauseous. The United States, the land of opportunity and innovation, is where pizza found a new home: convenience. Pizza was reinvented not just as a quick meal, but as a mass consumer product. In the 1950s, the post-war era ushered in a fast-paced style food. This is where frozen pizza came in. The idea of having a frozen pizza was absurd to Italians. Pizza is synonymous with freshness, natural ingredients, and breathable dough, and soft, melty cheese. However, in the United States, frozen pizza became a success as an easy, quick side the unsophisticated taste buds of the American middle class. Then came the boom in fast food pizza chains, such as Pizza Hut, founded in 1958. Set up by entrepreneurs who didn't even own an Italian grandmother's recipe to try and make their pizzas, they hired a local baker. They apparently created a bread stuffed with every kind of thing they had on hand: hot dog sausages, low-quality processed meat, and other ingredients that would have made any Napoleon call on God to strike these infidel down with a lightning bolt. The pizzas made by American entrepreneurs are as like Neapolitan pizza as American football is to European football. But outlets like Pizza Hut and Domino's turn the pizza-eating experience into a standardized, fast, replicable, and extremely affordable experience. These pizzerias spread out like wildfires, offering pizzas with an almost endless variety of toppings and styles, far removed from Neapolitan traditions. But this pizza revolution was not well accepted by all. It was perceived by many, particularly Italians and pizza purists, as a misrepresentation of the original dish. Pizza, once a symbol of Italian cuisine, had been transformed into an icon of American fast food culture. Few things sting the soul of Italian pizzialos more than the infamous Hawaiian pizza. It seems that putting pineapples on pizza is a deadly sin in Italy. But perhaps that's because the news that the Brazilians have come up with the outlandish idea of making sushi pizza has not yet reached the old world. It seems that insulting the culinary traditions of just one people is not enough for them. This is how we end our brief journey through the history of pizza, a true gastronomic phenomenon that has become more than just an Italian dish and turned into a global phenomenon, a landmark of Italian cuisine that has crossed borders and cultures. Pizza has adapted, evolved, and reinvented itself, mirroring the diversity and creativity of the peoples and countries that have adopted it. If you enjoyed this video, please drop us a suggestion for tasty topics you'd like to see in an upcoming one.
All right, y'all. So we've reached the end of the live. Thanks for rocking with me. That was the pizza. And guess what? I'm about to go get me a pizza. Because I am hungry, y'all. And I know y'all done ran off to get something to eat. And it's all good. It's cool in the gang. I will talk to you on the next live. I hope everybody has a beautiful rest of the day. Happy Monday, everybody. Let's have a great week. And I will talk to y'all on the next one. Golden out. Bye.
Gloria in excelsis. Miracle is coming, yeah, that's a safe bet. From the